Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS-80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks, grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Welcome to CoCoTALK episode 249, where we're watching Stevie run around Orlando. And Jason and Sarah.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Hello, everybody. We made it. We're live.
Hello.
Well, I guess first up is panel introductions. Let's see who we got today. Let's see. First up, we got Rick Euland.
Present.
And the chat monitor, Marco.
Hello.
And next we have the backup streamer, Grant Leedy.
Hey, everybody.
And Petro Pena.
Hello.
And next up is Ken Waters.
Hello, everybody.
Got a new Game On challenge for us this week.
Oh, no. Is that what I was supposed to do?
Oh, well. And then the foreign correspondent, L. Curtis Boyle.
Welcome, everyone. Hey.
And next up is Ron Delvo.
Fresh from Arizona.
Fresh from Arizona?
That's correct.
Still there, I guess, right?
Yep,
Fresh
we're here
squeezed.
Okay.
all day long.
And
82 degrees.
The next two are twins, Jason Reichard, Stevie Stroh.
And Sarah's back there too.
Hi, Sarah.
You guys riding that Mopar, huh?
Oh yeah.
Nah.
Hey. Next up, Alan, Exile in Paradise.
Howdy, everyone. Time for CoCo.
Time for CoCo. And David Ladd, are you excited to be here?
Oh, why, yes, I am. And I'm sure everybody else is excited to be here too. Please sit back, stay a while, enjoy the show.
Okay. Last but not least, we have Nick Mariantes.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Nick.
Dr. Nick. Okay. Everybody. All right.
Nick, I tried looking for another Ferrari for you while we were in the gift shop. I couldn't find it.
Ah,
He's out polishing his.
yeah.
Okay. Well, how's everyone's week been?
Busy.
Busy,
Pretty good.
which is a good thing.
As long as
Yeah,
it's making
first time
fun.
I've been this busy in 2 years, so I'm okay with it.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Shall we go on to the Game On section?
Sure.
All right. Let me find the right buttons here.
High Score Challenge
with Nick Marotta.
Welcome everybody to the results of the CoCoTALK Game On Challenge of the Week, where we played Fighter Pilot. We had a total of 16 players. We had Nathan with 8,850. Mark B with 12,350. Marcy with 17,250. Jim Rye with 27,500. Sabhead with 28,650. Sloopy Malibu with 36,600. Pedro Pena with 42,650. Canadian Retro Things with 44,150. Rich N with 52,650. Mr. Dave 6309 53,100. David Craker 54,350. Brian Walsh 59,350. Buck Owens 59,900. AC's 8-Bit Zone 61,500. L. Curtis Boyle snuck one in while eating supper with 67,700. And the number one score this week is Tasman Scott Cooper with 81,400. Thanks to everybody that played. We will see you next week.
What about the ones that forged it?
We weren't getting it here locally, Mark. It was on the streams, and David heard that too, and so did many people in the chat.
Okay. I don't know where that would be coming from then.
Well, you know, I sound better in an echo anyway, so.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to work on that.
Echo's just a slow reverb.
And sorry, Nick, but you were a little late for me to submit your
a little late with Photoshop.
Damn, again.
But we did have a legitimate late score come in from Timbo Tech at 28,300. So I won't mention Nick's forged score. Unless he wants to demonstrate live on the stream here. You want to fire it up and show us?
No, it's all right.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Nick. We're sitting here in suspense for you.
We want to see you play.
Okay, that's it. I'm leaving.
Was it 2 gabillion?
Oh, I never thought of that. I could have done that.
Yeah, we can vouch for Tim's score because he was actually on the live stream on Sloopy's show there, so he just forgot to screen clip it out and send it to us.
So Buck Owens did post a ad for this game, Fighter Pilot, $24.95 on tape, $29.95 on disc. So yeah, you can see how much more expensive tape games were in North America than Europe for all of their budget software.
And both of those games are actually by Dave Dyes before he started Dicom.
The reason why it cost more was all the extra packaging that was involved and the production value of that packaging.
Yeah, those little baggies and Xerox strips are a lot more expensive than full color stuff in the UK. So.
And let's see, we did have a review in the February 1986 Rainbow. This reviewer liked the game, said that you won't get bored with it, and recommends the game to anyone. It's challenged, fast-paced, exciting. Face it, you'll end up spending hours in front of your CoCo trying to beat that high score. Especially fast if you use the high-speed poke. As if you watch the live stream, some of us did. Some of the complaints were that there are no color graphics, and the sound effects on the title screen are good, but in the program, not so good. And he thought it was silly to have the keyboard option because it's just about impossible to play without a joystick.
I would agree with that.
Actually, my highest score was with the keyboard.
Yeah, but you're probably using one of those newfangled USB keyboards you've been fiddling with, huh?
I was.
Live on the air, too.
And what?
It was live on the air. Yeah. We got to actually watch it in real life.
I didn't forge it.
So yeah, we did, as I said, we had the, I don't think Sloopy's here, is he?
No.
Hey, I'm sorry to switch gears, but I want to ask Pedro a question real quick. Hey, Pedro.
Yep.
Since you're closer to me than Tom C is in Jersey, I was going to bring him some motherboards to work on. Could I take a trip down to Miami and have you help me with some repairs? By help me, I mean you do all the work.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem.
Because I can get to Miami quicker than I can get to Jersey at this point. Well, it depends on traffic. So.
It depends. I was going to say it depends on traffic. Yeah, absolutely,
Cool.
not a problem.
All right, and maybe
That'd
you
be
can
fun.
make some videos from it or something. You know.
Yeah. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Cool. All right, there you go.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt, guys.
I can smoke them.
Well, you got 'em.
So during the live stream, I was on there anyway. We had up to 4 people playing at once, one of which was Pedro Pena, as he was testing out his USB keyboard. So,
which worked
Yep.
well.
We also had some people experimenting with playing at a double speed.
Yep. So, fun was had. A 3.5 hour stream there. So, that went over quite well. There were a number of people in and out of it during the entire stream. So, I think
I have a question, because when I was playing it, when I was waiting for a client at one point, and it took him about half an hour to get back with an answer to me. So I actually did play the game for a bit. I had at one point during my high score, my plane was suddenly firing 4 shots at a time. Did anybody else seen that? And I have no idea what I did to do that.
Well, I did see Sloopy, gain 2 planes.
Yeah, all of a sudden at one point, Sloopy had three planes in a row, and a couple of people had commented that they also had that where multiple.
So there must be some
planes
sort
all
of
a sudden-
bonus system then, because I was shooting twice as wide. I was shooting 4 shots up the screen every time I clicked the button. I didn't last long because I was kind of stunned.
Yeah, that's what happened with me. I was
here's
all of a sudden it was one, and I was like in a big mess of stuff, and then all of a sudden I had 2 planes on either side of me shooting also. So I'm not sure what was going on.
So
there must be some sort of bonus system. I don't know if it's based on score or percentage of planes or something that maybe if which one of us had the manual.
Now, when it was the hitbox bigger? I mean, was it easier to get hit? Like if they hit one of the wingmen, were all 3 of you out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it was a score-based thing, because my score wasn't particularly high when I got it, and obviously there's a whole bunch of people playing, but not everyone actually saw it on every game.
Like I never saw any kind of bonus like that, but
like the game, it's based on 1942. I mean, if you shoot certain convoys of planes, you get them all, then you get that little pickup. Like maybe there's a hidden pickup if you get a certain wave of ships, you don't miss any of them or something. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, that sounds like somebody should be taking a look at the code and see if there's anything in there.
Get on it, Ken.
It's a bonus system based on buffer overflow.
No, the 4-shot one couldn't have been. There's no way. That's not accidental.
What
I
if
just
there's
don't know
like
what the
a
criteria
hidden joystick sequence, kind of like the Konami code,
Oh,
up,
right.
down.
I don't know. We only had one button and a joystick.
Yeah, I know.
It makes it kind of hard, yeah.
Yeah, button 1, button 1, button 1, button 1.
Oh, yeah, that's what I pressed.
Yeah.
Also, this is one of the ones that at least Ken told everybody on the stream there that if you hold the button down, you actually get auto fire, because a lot of people don't try that.
Yeah, Sloopy.
That's right. He was complaining his finger was getting sore from hitting the button so much. And then Ken goes, "Well, just hold it down, then you'll just keep firing."
Yeah.
I've learned my lesson on other games that you don't always have that. Always check to see if there's an auto fire.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't try that.
So I tried the high-speed poke on a CoCo 2, and at first I thought it was a little smoother, but that was just psychological. It didn't help.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any ROM calls, so it wouldn't speed up. If you put it on a cartridge, on the other hand, it would.
The CoCo 3 definitely goes a lot faster.
Yes.
And you end up having about 30-second games that way.
Actually, I didn't do too bad. My high score was on the slower one, but I think I got 40,000 on the double speed poke when I tried it. So it's, if I had the reflexes I did back when I was in my teens, I probably would have done pretty good with it. Probably would have preferred it, actually.
I think if you played it long enough and got used to that speed, but I'd been playing it for a few days on the slow speed, and all of a sudden it was, yeah.
So any tips or tricks for anybody besides trying to get how to get the mystery thing where you get extra planes side by side or extra shots? Which I wish I could tell you how that was done, but I have no idea.
Don't die.
Yeah, don't die. Don't get shot.
Don't hit anything. There are paratroopers that jump out of the planes when you shoot the big plane down, and little paratroopers will come out. I thought they were explosions at first, but if you actually look at them, they're little.
I wonder if maybe if you get enough of those that you get the.
That might be it. Because there's little round parachutes that.
You have to do this a second week to try that out. Just kidding. The only strategies I have is that the planes always fire at straight angles, and like the big plane will fire out, diagonally to the left, lower right, and straight down. So if you kind of shift a little bit off center and you're far enough away, it'll always miss you. So you can kind of do some strategies based on that. The planes will spin. If they started spinning a certain direction, they'll keep going that one direction, and then they might straighten out. So you can kind of predict a little bit of where to go to dodge. Stay off the very bottom if you can, because if they come up right behind you, you're hit and killed almost instantly. So if you're a little bit away, you can do it. That's my strategies anyway.
Yeah, the little planes do have a pattern that they follow, so you can predict where they're going to go.
I found that would help me a little bit was like starting up high, just go up as far as I can and just shoot as many of those single engine planes at first. And I found, at least for me, it was a little bit easier after that.
Yeah, because you can fire faster when you're up that high because you have so many shots on the screen, so you can clear it out faster.
Yeah. It was a fun game.
Yeah, it's not a bad 1942 style game, and it doesn't have the aircraft carriers and as many pickups. So maybe, as Ken mentioned, those ones when you hit the big plane, the biggest plane, I think those might be pickups. Maybe that's how you get your extra weapons. But
you got to shoot them though, because you can't you can't hit them. I tried that and you die.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried it too after you said it, and I died.
I will have to try that. I that might be how I got them then. How I got the wide shots. Did you notice, Ken, where any of them look different from each other, or they always look the same?
No, they're always just little round tops of the parachutes.
Okay. And you get rewarded for shooting them. Okay.
I guess you do. I think it's actually. Oh, I don't have that up right now. I think the review actually did say something about how many points you get for shooting them.
Yeah, there's different points for the different size planes. I know that, up to 2,500 for the biggest bomber.
1,000 for the smaller ones, and then you get like 250 for the single engine.
Oh, fighters are worth 150. Paratroopers are worth 250. Medium planes are worth 1,000, and large ones worth 2,500.
But no mention of bonus power-ups or anything.
No, it doesn't say anything. It does say that it's a very good manual for it, and unfortunately that's not up on the archive, so nobody got to read it.
It's lost forever.
I'll eventually find. Maybe Alfredo has it.
It's like America's greatest, the greatest American hero. You know how he lost the manual, he couldn't use his suit.
That's a fun game. I mean, it's not the most visually stunning thing. I mean, the planes are rather well drawn, but there's no backgrounds or anything.
Yeah.
It does get bogged down when there's a ton of planes on the screen at once and a ton of shots.
Although there is a lot going on that game compared to other CoCo 1 and 2 games from around the same time. So it's...
it's also earlier, before Dave Dies learned all the the tricks and stuff here.
Yeah.
Like when I've gone through and sped up some of his games, going from his earliest to his later ones, there was less and less I could do to speed them up because he started doing things much better.
So Sloopy, is there anything you wanted to say about the live stream, or?
No, not really.
I did get Ken to hijack it for a little bit, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. We had some bonus content on the live stream coming up later in, I guess, the news.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I guess
fun game.
Yeah.
I've also asked Karen, because this is a perfect game for the Dragon, because it's got joystick controls, which means you don't have to recode anything to get it to work properly. The high score thing, you'd have to fix the keyboard up. But it's also designed to be black and white. high res. Like this is perfect for a PAL-based system. It's not designed for artifacting except for the little color box around your name. When you type in, that's the only place the color is actually designed. So this would be a perfect port.
So, yeah, I guess, do we have anything else to say on the subject?
I wish you could flip. That's the one thing I wish it had.
Yeah, I missed that from the arcade game. That was the fun part.
It would have come in very handy a lot of times when you get cornered or something to be able to flip your plane.
No, I will mention one thing that I did not like in this game. You cannot go all the way to the left or the right. And there was places where you should have had enough room to dodge somebody by going far left or far right up to the edge.
Yeah.
And since you can't, you just get nailed and you had no choice. You would just die. That part
I noticed that. I felt like I was just getting kind of clipped by the big bombers a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's clearing. And then, it's just one pixel over.
Yeah. And little unfair how the bad guys could shoot through their own people and hit you.
Well, they're on different planes, different levels, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how we figured it out, is that you've got a really fat plane and they've got really thin, paper thin planes, wafer thin planes.
Oh, I thought they were transphasic bullets.
It's only wafer thin.
No, they're using paper airplanes.
All right. Well, so that was last week's game. So shall we see what we are going to be playing this week, as well as playing it in the European stream, which will be coming up on Wednesday, which I'll let Sloopy talk about here. So does anybody recognize this game? Because, the name's right on it.
Kind of an arcade strategy one. This will be a fun one to see people learning.
So this one you have...
Unlike Nick's games, this does not involve Mastermind.
No. So basically, you've got every time you run over a little pellet, it puts a gate in there, and then you, using the fire button, you angle the gate one way or the other, and you have to bounce your ball all the way around the field and collect all the pellets within the time limit. And one thing to remember is that if you push the joystick up, you move faster, because I played it a couple of times without figuring that out, and it's impossible to clear the screen in the time limit.
Yeah. If you've played Reactoid, there's a little bit of similarity between the two, but they're not the same game and not the same goal.
And it is game available actually on Curtis's game site or game pages. It's the download on there.
Yep, Dave Edson gave me permission. All of his games can be downloaded, no legal ties.
And other places, the other regular places you can also get it. So that is the game for next week. So Sloopy, did you want to mention about Wednesday's stream?
Yeah, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK, 7 in the Netherlands. We will be doing the Game On Challenge live matinee edition for all you wonderful CoCo and Dragon enthusiasts over across the pond. Hope that you can come out and join us.
And try a little strategy.
Strategy, that requires thinking.
And then we'll also be doing the regular game stream on Thursday night, right?
Yes, that is correct. At 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be playing for all you wonderful North American people and all you people that aren't too busy polishing your Ferraris in Australia.
So I mentioned too, the minimum requirements for Tube Frenzy is a 16K CoCo 1, 2, or 3, and a joystick, and that's it. That's all you need.
And Nick, I'm expecting a high score from you again this week, but actual proof this time.
Oh, you want to see me edit it?
I'm hoping you'll play live on the stream.
Welcome to Nick's Game Stream, also known as Photoshop 101.
That was great.
All right. Well, I guess that is everything for the Game On. So what's up next?
You want me to go straight into Game On news there, Mark?
Okay, let me run the intro here. All right, go ahead, Curtis.
Just forgot to share sound.
Yeah, my little sound sharing trick only worked as long as someone else didn't share. Then it turned off.
Is that what happened with the echo they had earlier?
I don't know what that's about. Well, I've asked if it stopped when the scene stopped, but I didn't get an answer.
I haven't heard anybody complain since we went back to live shots. So I'm assuming it's only when you're playing video on your end that it's doubling up.
Okay. Well, we just had a video. We'll have to test it a little later.
Okay. Also, if you guys can in the chat there can mention if you guys hear any echo when I start playing clips too, just to see if it's a general Zoom thing or if it's something on Mark's end uniquely. So yeah, first up, we got a couple of stories here from Paris Surratt. So first of all, he's released the first Super Sprite FM Plus converted AGD Games pack. Now, he's done a few of these as little demos, and for those of you who don't know, John Whitworth in the UK has been remaking a board that actually existed for the Dragon back in the day that actually was basically an MSX2 system with the sound chip and the sprite chip and graphics, etc., which he's now selling as a plugin that you can actually put into a CoCo or a Dragon, and it gives you a bunch of extra features like multi-voice music and hardware and hardware sprites, etc. So he's done a few demo videos that we've shown before of a couple games that are using this. And now he's officially going to be releasing packs as he gets them converted, which will be upgraded graphics and sound of the AGD games that he's released in the past. So the very first pack got released this week. And he says he's going to be doing, occasionally as he gets them done, 2 to 6, because they have to be recoded again. He can't just take the original CoCo versions to do it. The system requirements are a little different. I was hoping to get some clarification from him, but I didn't get any by the time I got on the show here. My understanding is that the original AGD games require 64K Dragon, like a Dragon 64 or a CoCo 1, 2 with at least 64K, or any CoCo 3 because it obviously has more than 64K to start with. The AGD ones for the Super Sprite, on the other hand, my understanding is that they only need 32K of RAM, but they do need a 6 or a 9. I'm not quite sure why that's required. I don't know if he's just using some stuff to speed up things to get it to run at the actual speed it's supposed to run. So I'm hoping to get some further information on that, and I'll report back on that next week. But it sounds like it requires 32K of RAM only, but it might need a 6 or a 9. So anyway, the games he did this time, you can see here on this little clip, is Bean Brothers, Circuitry, Diamond Geezer, Foggy's Quest, which is one he had out before we've seen and actually played video demos of, Meteor Mania, and Robot the Impossible Mission. So I thought it showed some of the screenshots here. So you can immediately see there's more color. So these look a lot closer to the original Spectrum games. But they run super smooth. We've shown the videos before where, with the hardware sprites and stuff here, you don't have to worry about masking and all this extra programming code you have to do. So it actually runs at a pretty decent clip while playing multi-voice background music. So now, Ken, I was going to ask you, like, these games do run on a CoCo if you have the Super Sprite board, and there's not too many of those in North America yet, as far as I know. But you can play these in MAME. MAME does support this board now.
Okay.
So you can actually test these out. So these could be a consideration for a future Game On challenge, but I don't know if you want to wait until more critical mass for people with real hardware, because I know John's got the same problem every hardware guy has. Trying to get parts these days is a bear.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep it in mind for now.
Okay. I mean, the original versions, the black and white versions of these, of course, will run on any of them just fine. So those are wide open. But
is there any change in the how hard the games are from the?
No, the games are pretty well identical. The only upgrade is it's playing multi-voice music background with special sound effects from the hardware chip for the sound, and that they're using the sprite chip and, 16 color mode is what it's running in.
So theoretically, you could play it on either version, the black and white version or the color version.
That's true. That's true. You just won't get all the music and stuff.
Yeah.
There's the Foggy Quest. That was one of the very first ones he did in the black and white version way, way back. In fact, you might recognize some of these screenshots because we've actually seen the videos of these running as demos. And he demoed, or not him personally, but it was demoed at the Dragon meetup this past November as well.
So these aren't running on a 6809.
Right
that
now,
right?
if I understood correctly, this is running on a 6309. And I don't know why he required a 6309. Maybe that was just quickest, easiest way to get it running. I don't know. I left a message on the World of Dragon forums, and I didn't get a chance to check right before the show, but as of earlier, I had not seen a response yet because I'm not quite sure why they require 6309. I honestly don't know. Maybe it was just running slower than he would have liked. I don't know. But visually, they look pretty good. I mean, these almost look like CoCo 3 games, to be honest. This is another one that was demoed. We had live video demos of before. If you remember, the skulls kind of spin around and stuff.
Oh, yeah. It's Pickle Rick.
Yeah. Remember that. This is kind of reminds me of Moon Shuttle. For those of you who played that game. Have we played that one in our challenge yet there, Ken? That's a Steve Bjork Datasoft game?
I don't believe we have.
Also an arcade game. It's an actual one of the official license ones. There's a robot being possible mission, which kind of reminds me of Seamus a little bit. With auto mapping, which is nice. Yeah,
So he's converting Z80 to 6809.
Well, he did that on the original AGD ones, and it's using that AGD engine. So basically, you get the AGD data files, which is graphics and the rules for the AI, etc., which you don't have to change anything on. And then the graphic assets just have to be converted, and the core engine, of course, has been redone for 6809, required 64K up until now. Now the Super Sprite FM Plus board seems to require 6309.
If you scroll down, it looks like he answered your question there on the forum.
Yeah, is it something to do with the...
Cool. The 609 used to use double speed without issues, and a few parts that need to have the same speed than the MSX2 Plus machines with higher clock rates. Okay. So 609 and at least a 32K machine with the Super Sprite FM Plus board at this point.
But it
I'll have to
doesn't
talk
say
to him.
why.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's just trying to convert the Z80's LDIR command to the 6309 TFM.
Yeah, but the original Spectrum games were Z80, so
yeah, Z80.
And that's only 6809 he requires for that.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Sure. He did that.
I mean, it sounds like it's something to do with talking with the MSX2 hardware that's on the Super Sprite board that's needs to jam it out fast. I'll have to talk to him a bit more further.
No, yeah, it doesn't say exactly why.
Yeah, he said he had 609 to use double speed without issues in a few parts that need it.
No.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to him about that.
Sounds like there might be some software timing that the 6309 is able to match the MSX.
Yeah, and I imagine it has to push more data because the graphics with 16 colors obviously is going to take more than a 2-color black and white is going to. So maybe it just slows it down too much in certain spots, or maybe this. But you figure the speed gains of having hardware sprites and stuff would make up for it. I don't know. I'll have to talk to Per. I'll respond to him on this one here later.
So someone needs to do a conversion to a CoCo 3.
Oh yeah, because you wouldn't even need the Super Sprite then. You could just run
That's right.
Full out double speed, 16 colors to be good. I mean, the hardware sprites you have to emulate still.
Bring
and
it back
you need
to
a background
CoCo.
sound player.
So you're not very busy right now, are you, Curtis? You could do that.
Oh no, Nick was volunteering is what I heard.
Oh, Nick was volunteering. Okay.
He's almost
too
done his
busy.
game now, so he's going to have plenty of time.
I'm too busy with Photoshop.
Just think about it, Nick. You could probably get another 2 or 3 Ferraris out of that.
Oh no, you can't charge for these.
You can't charge for these.
Donations then.
Hey, isn't he rich enough already? I think, really, honestly. If he can afford, if he's going on his 4th Ferrari, I think it's time to just kind of let it go and do some nice stuff for people and do it for free for a change.
Not until he actually owns all of Australia. He just wants that entire area as his backyard.
Any rate, if you guys have an FM Plus board, I know a few people do in North America already. I know his first run of 20 is already sold out completely. I know he's waiting for parts for generating a new batch of them. I don't know if maybe he wants to make some arrangements with some of the people here in North America to maybe manufacture them here on his behalf, because shipping between Europe and here is terrible right now, both for timing and cost. But and this should run, the board itself should run on a CoCo 3 as well. So if you wanted to run one of these natively on a CoCo 3, without needing to reconvert the whole thing a third time, that theoretically should work. And having hardware sprites would be kind of nice too, especially with double speed. And it's sure not, of course. So anyway, for those of you who do not have a Super Sprite FM Plus, which is most of you, or don't want to have to run it in an emulation on MAME, and as far as I know, that's the only emulator that supports this hardware. VCC and X4, as far as I know, do not. 60, you're in the chat. You can correct me if X4 has any support for it, but I don't believe it does. But they did release the next regular pack for the regular CoCo people and regular Dragon people. AGD pack number 50, hitting a milestone here. So he's coming up close to 300 games now. He's converted now, I think. So this new one here is The Shining, The Witch, Toofy's Nutty Nightmare, Turtle Tales, he spelled that wrong there, UFO, and Vampire Vengeance. So there's a lot of horror-related ones in this batch here. And I think everybody will recognize that famous scene, which I think is David Ladd getting excited about floppies or something. But it is based on the novel and the actual motion picture. You can see the twin girls there, the creepy twins.
Oh, wow.
Definitely a platformer. Toofy's Nutty Nightmare. Seems to be a standard jump platformer style thing. And Turtle Tales. I have no idea what's going on in this one. Not a chance to play any of these. UFO. Vampire Vengeance. I like the title page on this one. I'm not sure where that was scanned from or if that was actually drawn, but kind of a cool font too. Yeah. And vampires apparently are just legs and a head in this game. There's the witch. And that's what's her name from DC Comics. She's the host of one of their horror comics. I can't remember which one it is now. Unexpected or something. But I definitely recognize the picture.
Yeah, I think that was the vampire's cape, man.
Definitely looks to be a Halloween theme when you got bats, you got pumpkins flying around, a witch and a broomstick. The moon at night.
How many hags you got?
And all those black cats in the background.
Concealed.
So there's another batch of 6 games as he's promised. He's been doing these weekly releases. I think he's going to run out. I think he said he had 8 or 9 packs of 6 games each on average to be out starting at January 1st, like roughly around New Year's. So by the end of February, he should be running out of the ones he's converted. I don't know how often or he has a schedule planned for the Super Sprite versions. But anybody out there in CoCo Land that has a Super Sprite board and wants to come on and demonstrate, live on the show what some of these games actually look and play like on the real hardware, I would love to have you come on and do that. I know a few people, I think Ron Klein has one, I believe. So Ron, if you're listening, feel free to hop on. And I think 1 or 2 others might already too. So anyway, there we go for download. You can get them on the World of Dragon Archive forum. That goes for both of the packs. And as usual, he's got the short name versions if you're running them on real hardware and you want to put them into a CoCo SDC or the, what's the Dragon equivalent of that? The Dragon MMC. The long names are more for if you're playing with emulators. And then he's actually got docks too here, which is something is nice. And of course, every month he's doing these upgrade big packs, as he called them, which is basically every game that's been released so far. So if you've joined the party late here and you don't want to have to go back and download all 50 individual packs, you can get the big mega pack from last month and then just get the last 3 weeks. Or you can wait until the end of February, beginning of March when he releases the next big pack and you get the whole thing in one shot. Next up, we have Paul Shoemaker, of course, has been doing his Poker Squares game and porting it to every single derivative of CoCo you can possibly find, except I believe he hasn't done the MC10 version yet, but he's done like CoCo VGA, he's done CoCo 3, he's done Dragon, he's done CoCo 1 and 2 with artifacting, etc. So he's been working on that, but now he's working on a mock-up of Free Cells. This is kind of how he's planning to do the layout, 320 by 200 by 16. And it looks pretty good. He's using that card set that he's got official permission to use. And as usual, it looks really, really nice. And I don't know how many people here played Free Cell on Windows. Pedro?
I played a lot of Free Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah, once I learned how to play it, actually, I got kind of addicted to it for a little bit there. When I first looked at it, I was just like, I don't understand this. And I was back in Solitaire, but
Yeah.
it's actually, it's a fun little game. So.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I got addicted. I would go to work and play a lot of it.
But that's why I would have needed the Nitrous 9 version back in the day there, because I would just hit a window. I'm not playing games, I'm programming. See?
Right. It was a Linux shop, you know. You could run an emulator in one screen.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about having all the full screen windows and just one button to instantly switch to the other one, because you'd be, playing a game of Shanghai or whatever, and the boss is coming by. Just hit clear once, and then you can see the screen scrolling up as it's printing.
Although there was a game, and I forget which one it was, but the pause screen was a Lotus spreadsheet. So
yeah, there was a DOS one, wasn't it?
Really?
I think Rogue had a DOS prompt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There was
and a
one that
boss
was a
game.
There was one that was a Lotus spreadsheet as well that looked pretty realistic and had.
I think Minesweeper used to have that on the old back in Windows, like ME and stuff like that. And Minesweeper
The problem was
came
if
with
your
it.
shop didn't use Lotus and they used Microsoft Office or some
Right,
other
right.
open office, that didn't quite work. So the
Hey,
DOS
you tried
prompt
it
one
now.
made more to me, because it would let you type. It wouldn't actually do anything. I think DIR worked, so you could make it look like you were actually doing something there, and then you just hit back. Anyway, it looks really good, so I'm looking forward to that too. This is one Ken and I mentioned. I kind of stole the stream for it, and I had to upload this twice because I was kind of groggy early this morning when I uploaded it. Basically, if you guys have been following Rick Adams, who was on last week to talk about, he's been converting that latest Craze game, which is kind of a word-based mastermind style game, so it's right up Nick's alley, called Wordle. And he made CoCoTALK, I guess is what we're calling it now. So he's been updating it multiple times over the last couple of weeks, and it's been making a lot of good progress. And I had a bit of a time where I wanted to take a bit of a break, but I didn't want to get back to Petsky, because the part in Petsky I'm working on right now is one I have to concentrate on what the heck I'm doing. So I can't just do a quick little 15, 30-minute break on it. So I downloaded his source code, because he's got it up in his GitHub, and decided, I took a look at it. It's actually very short. I didn't expect the program to be this small. So I thought, well, this would be a perfect candidate for me to try to convert to Basic 9, because I keep yammering how people should write games in Basic 9, because it's easier and more powerful than the regular Basic. So I did an initial conversion to it. And then, of course, Nick, the very next day, went and updated a whole whack load of stuff. And I managed to sneak in another 15 minutes to update the stuff that he did. And then after that, I got swamped with work. So my version's a bit behind. I don't have all those things he's right up to date is, but it's fully playable. I uploaded it to Facebook. I uploaded it to Discord here. I'll be throwing in the archive once I get the final version done. This can be considered a beta. It's fully playable. No bugs that I know of. And it does display faster, and it does play faster, even off of a real floppy drive. And then, of course, you're running off the SDC with a hard drive or something that runs like pretty darn quick. And this is one that Ken actually snuck onto the stream, because I mentioned I'd been sending it to Ken and a couple others just to kind of test it. And Ken, I'll stop my screen sharing if you want to just show a little bit of the gameplay video. Do you still have it handy?
Oh, give me just like a minute here.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I'll just show the intro screen here. So the first time I uploaded this, I accidentally had the word "buy" here twice. I had "buy" at the end of this line, and I had "buy" in front of my name. So it was going OS9 version bye L Curtis Boyle. It's kind of like I was sending myself off to my own death or something. So, and that is ironically something that Rick Adams had pointed out to me earlier when he played an earlier test version too. And I thought, well, the one thing I have time to change is just take the word "buy" out, and just recenter it a little bit. So I did that on screen. I edited it in Basic 9 itself, and I forgot to save the darn thing after I made sure it lined up properly. And the version I uploaded initially had this stupid bug still in it because I hadn't saved it. So I quickly went in and did it again. So there's a separate upload on Facebook. Get the second one, not the first one, that actually has that corrected. You can tell by the screenshot in the comments of the post which one's the current one, which one's the old one. So for those of you who don't know the game, it's basically you have to guess. You have 6 times to try to guess a 5-letter word, completely picked at random. And like Mastermind, the guesses you punch in are color-coded. So you get gray means that letter is not in the solution whatsoever. Yellow means that letter is in the solution, but it's in the wrong spot. and green means it's the right letter in the right spot. So you kind of gradually try to figure out the word. And I guess the official one just got bought up by the New York Times for, I don't know, millions of dollars or something like that. And actually is being hosted by them now, I believe, as of last week.
But where it's different to our normal mastermind is that you don't have the flexibility of just putting the letters where you want. I didn't realize that you have to pick another word from its own built-in database. Or
you have to punch in a legitimate 5-character word, and that makes it much more challenging.
that's the part I didn't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, the first time I played it, I had the same thing because I punched in, well, this is going to be easy. I'll just go A, B, C, D, E, or whatever, type of thing. And it comes back, that's not a word.
Yeah. You've got to guess with a word.
Yeah. So sometimes you might get where you've got a couple letters, but you have absolutely no idea what the other ones are, but you can't think of any other words that fit that. So you pick a completely different word that you know is going to be wrong because you already know you're going to be punching in some letters in places that you know what it should be. But you're trying to guess what other letters should be in it. So you might pick a totally different word to see. Is EC in there, for example? And you type score or something like that just to see if those letters show up as yellow to show that they are part of the solution. And that helps narrow it down. Now, the one difference right now, like the latest version that Rick uploaded has it you punch in the letters right in the boxes themselves, which is what he just added because he had the same thing I've got right now. I have a little, set of 5 underscores at the top. You punch it in. I'm not sure I want to change that because the input system, once you get used to this, the one I've used, to me is a little bit easier. Because the original one, you did hit, type your characters and hit the backspace and wipe them out and go back. I have it non-destructive, so you can actually go in there and just, go place a letter over top using the arrow keys and leave the rest of it there. So you can kind of read as you pop in different letters. It makes it a bit more visually easy to figure out what you're doing. Plus, you can control right and control left arrow to insert and delete, so you can actually shift the letters over as you're typing them. If you know it's in the wrong spot, say, well, what pattern do I recognize if I move it over here? Because sometimes I just can't figure it out just by looking at the list of letters left over. But I blather on enough, Ken, for you to bring.
I got it ready to go. If you want to see.
Okay, I'll stop sharing for a bit, and we'll let you kind of show it off there.
Okay, so. And
also, 60 responded just to catch up here on X-Ray. It definitely does not support the MSX Super Sprite board.
Nothing.
Damn, I'm good.
So got the sound going now too. So this is just us.
I see. So it's basically just text on there and a couple of squares and.
Yeah, and then it has to search through an entire, like if you put in something that's not a word, be like, oh, not a valid word. So it has to search the the file.
Why does it have to search the file though? I don't understand the game yet.
You can't use an invalid word as a guess. You can't just type in letters. So you can't just go like A to find out if there's an A in there and what spot it's in. It'll say, nope, that's not a word.
But I thought, doesn't the program pick a word that you have to?
Yeah, it picks a word that you have to guess, and then as you guess, it'll show up as yellow if that letter appears in the word, and green if it appears in the word and it's in the right spot.
I mean, that's enough to do the play.
Yeah. So that's the thing where I couldn't understand because I'm trying to look at it from
you're looking at it as strictly mastermind where you're just trying to guess the colors in whatever order
so it wasn't
you want to
clear
try.
that you got to put a word in as a guess.
That was our teaching moment on the stream. So it's
right.
educational, not just fun.
Yeah. But that is actually what makes the game much more challenging, I think, too, because, you could just wing it and throw in 5 different letters every guess and narrow it down fairly quickly, or at least have the option of doing so, or especially if you think, I'm not sure if it's going to be one of these 3 letters, you can throw the 3 letters you want to know and find out instantly between yellow and green whether you've got the right ones. If you've got words that are only 1 character apart and you only got 1 guess left, for example.
And what's the list of words? Like, is that where'd you get that list from?
You have to ask Rick because basically I took it from his because he supplies one. It's a 29 granule file or something. It's fairly big. It's about 50 some odd K, and it's 5 letters per words do the math.
Rick
Fair
was
number of
saying
words.
that last week that the actual file for the real game was a little strange. It looks like they just taken a dictionary file, and any words 5 or letters or longer, they just cut the end words off because some were nonsense words in the file. So,
yeah. Now I know from some comments that Rick had gotten on his post on Facebook when he uploaded his version originally is that some people were asking, well, is it encrypted in any way so that you can't cheat? And as Rick pointed out, and I agree with him totally, if somebody's going to cheat, they're going to cheat. Whether you scramble it or the weird things, they'll just disassemble the code and figure out how you're doing it and just do it anyway. And cheaters will be cheaters.
A word's a word. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not bothering, and he's not bothering, and Nick's going to Photoshop the result anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's right.
It would be
wasting your time.
Looking at the dictionary would be cheating.
It would be fun to script like the Dinosaur spelling dictionary against the Wordle game and see how long it would take for it to win.
Yeah.
It'd
Now,
be
is
a
anybody
scripting thing? You know,
has anybody ever gotten it in one guess? I don't know anybody has, but I've seen a couple people on the Amigos Discord have actually got them in 2. Best I think I've done is 4.
That's just pure luck.
Yeah, that's just Photoshop.
The cheaters
This is
do.
on the official one, but
yeah, do it 700 times and I won twice. Here they
now,
are.
I will say one thing. When I first started doing it with the random function, of course, random is not really random, right? It's basically just a lookup table. The thing is, if you booted NitroSun, you had it start immediately at the same time. You could do this with Rick's version too. The random seed would come out the same every time. So it would be a predictable list of words in the same order every time. So you could cheat and get in one. So actually, both Rick and I changed our random routines a little bit to try to make it a bit more random. And I constantly am randomizing as you're guessing. It comes and takes the timer, the number of seconds left. So each guess that takes a different amount of time reseeds it. So by the time you've taken a couple of guesses, it's completely in a different, where you would have been the previous game. So it's not as predictable. But yeah, that's one of the problems with pseudo random.
I just use the same word to start it every time. One of these times it's going to be right.
Yeah, I know. Like William Astle, of course, is like a mathematical genius compared to me. He's got some things that he does specifically. Like the word adieu, which is a kind of a French word, I think. That has almost all the vowels in one word. So he uses that as a good one because you can get your vowels figured out almost instantly. The only ones that's missing really, I think, is O and Y, basically. So go ahead and download it. You can get it on Discord. You can get it on Facebook. I probably won't put it on the archive until I get the final version out, which won't be for at least a few weeks until work catches up. And it will be included on EOU, the next release. Except there it'll be enhanced a little bit because it'll have its own icon and you can just double click it in G Shell and it'll launch and blah, blah, blah. So this one, you got to go the old school command line and type in a few things. So Nick will never touch it. What's that?
I've never played it. The first time will be on a CoCo.
Hey, next up, Jim Gary did another conversion here. So this is a game called Space Derelict. And this one requires the 20K upgrade. And you actually had to slim the game down to get it to fit even in 20K. Now, if you have an MCX 128 or the 32SD, whatever the heck that thing's called, the MC10, which gives you more memory, you probably could have fit the original, but not too many people have those. The 16K upgrade is much more common, which gives you 20K total. So you kind of had to compress it down. But basically, this one was originally by Jim Menick, and it was part of a book that was called Basic Adventure Strategy Game Design from 1984. This was a book that wasn't just a list of adventure games, so it had some samples, but it was meant to teach you how to write an adventure game and how to design one. So this is one of the sample games on there. So Jim thought that was a pretty interesting one to actually get put on. And aside from having the video, I won't play it because it's a standard text adventure game, but I will show the fact that this is one of the ones he actually took the time to write a blog on, because he doesn't do that with every one of his conversions. In fact, that's a little bit more rare. So it kind of goes through, trying to find it. And the fact that it was originally published for an Apple II Interior City Model 1, 2, 3, 4 style book. And apparently there was a PC Junior version, but the PC Junior died right when the book was about to come out, so it never got released. And he went hunting on the web and he could not find a typed in version of this game on any platform. So he actually had to OCR scan the thing or type the whole thing in, or OCR scan, or a combination of both to get it to work. And then he starts, going into how he had to shrink it down, et cetera. And then somehow the program actually worked. based on the book itself that it came from. So a little bit of a history of some of the books on adventure game design, as well as here's the sample game that they had in the book. So pretty interesting little blog post if you're into text adventure games. Next up, Marlon Lee comes back, and this is not the game he's showing off in this particular video. This is part of his intro, but he's doing Space Raiders for the CoCo. So I will play a little bit of that, and I will.
Hey guys, today we have Space Raiders from Mark.
You'll recognize the name Brian Bruder if you watched our show the last few weeks, because he's actually going to be our guest next week. So this is one of the games that he had published for the CoCo back in the day. The first one he did, actually. Which is, of course, a Space Invaders clone. This was sold by Mark Data Products. It's one of the closer clones to the arcade game, and it's got some nice little bits, too. Like if you shoot the alien saucer, instead of it just blowing up, it actually gets wounded, changes color, limps across the top screen, and then goes down the right-hand side, and then stops on the bottom, and you can stack them up. And I think there's a free ship or something to get some of these stacked up or something. So it's got a little bit of additions to the arcade game as well. But it's a pretty decent version of the game. The other one he's most famous for is P-51 Mustang Attack Flight Simulator, which is, I think, the first arcade-style head-to-head game you played with two CoCos connected together, either via modem or through direct serial, null modem cable. And each player got their own CoCo, their own joystick, and fly in the same environment and see each other and shoot each other type thing. And you could play it over, across the country on a modem at 3 or 1200 baud, which was pretty awesome. We'd had a couple of modem games before P-51, but they were usually board games where everybody took a turn. It wasn't real time. You'd play like checkers or Othello or chess or something like that. But in this case, he actually made it a pseudo flight simulator / arcade game that is based on it. And he also ended up getting, on the strength of these two programs, the one you're seeing right now and P-51, he got hired by Tandy Fort Worth in their software area, and he actually ended up being one of the principal people involved with Deskmate, both the CoCo version and the Tandy 1000 line. So he's our guest next week. So if you have any questions on any of that kind of stuff or what his days at Tandy were like, join us next week for that. And we'll be playing a full promo with a little bit of words from Brian himself a little bit later in the show. But I thought it was kind of ironic that Marlon picked this game this week, the week before we have the author of the game on the show itself. So I did reach out to Marlon on the comments and said, if you want to pop by and ask him any questions yourself here, feel free to join us. So I didn't hear a response back. I know his work schedule's nuts these days, just like mine is. So I'm not sure if we'll make it, but hopefully he can. And this next one, not strictly CoCo related. Most of you know that Super Pitfall, Steve Bjork, a CoCo 3 only game, and one of the better looking ones, had a version for the NES, Nintendo system. Those are the only two I knew of. High Retro Game Lord, of course, does game videos on every single system under the planet. He went through the CoCo series a few years back where he spent quite a bit of time going through just tons and tons of gameplay videos. I found him one for the PC88 by NEC. Now, this one, he says he thinks this is the best version. He thinks the CoCo 3 version is the second best and that the Nintendo's the dead last one as far as playability goes. But this one looks a bit different, and it looks like it plays a bit different. First of all, it doesn't scroll. It jumps between screens. But there's also some graphical elements and some stuff that's been added to the game. So this is like an alternate take. I don't think Steve had any involvement with this version whatsoever, but we'll have to wait till we can hear from Steve himself on the answer to that. I think that's a simulated clicking of the drive. But you can see right off the bat, you look totally different. The graphics are quite different color-wise. It doesn't scroll up and down, you go between, and I don't remember little fires and stuff being on the. So I'm thinking the maps are probably somewhat different too. I don't remember this in our version or the NES version. The music is similar. Same tune.
He said on YouTube chat that no, he was not involved with this.
Okay. Now the gold bricks, the frogs, I mean, that's all from the original shooting bullets and stuff here. But the I don't remember those little fire pits, for example. So it's an interesting take on the game. It's from what High Retro Game Lord has said about it in the comments, he thinks it plays the best out of everything. I thought that was just a rather interesting take. You can watch the whole video. There's quite a few different scenes where the colors and stuff start changing and the backgrounds get quite a bit different. You're kind of in the gray area. But a lot of the design, the maps have at least some similarity with the original versions that we're used to, with a few tweaks here and there from what I can tell. Anyway, interesting take in the game. So check out the full video on High Retro Game Lord's YouTube page. And that's all I have for the Game On news.
Okay. Shall we take the first commercial break and then go into the regular news?
Yeah, and you might as well put up Brian's little plug for his interview next week.
Gotta grab the right mouse.
Let us know if you hear echo on this, guys. I'll mute mine.
Hello, my name is Brian Bruderer. I made P51 and Space Raiders. You can catch me live on CoCoTALK February 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Hi, Retro Tech Heads. Data Soup here. You're watching CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy color computer and proudly Patreon sponsored by RetroTechTime.com.
At CoCoTALK, we'd like to thank the patrons who sponsor our program. So our heartfelt gratitude goes out to Alan Huffman, Alan Murphy, Blair Ledoux, Boatin Aaron, Brendan Donahue, Brian Weasler, Karen Anscombe, D. Bruce Moore, Daniel Williams, Diego, Eric Canales, Glenn Hewlett, Graham Vebke, Grant Leedy, Henry Strickland, Jason Downs, Ken Reichard, Malfunk, Michael Pitsley, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Paul Thayer, Retro Tech Time, Rick Hewlin, Rob Inman, Rocky Hill, Stephen Wagner, Steve Batson, Steve Rasmussen, Terry Steen, Terry Steggy, The Backyard Shed Gang, Tim Thayer, Tom C., Tom Gunderson, Tom Heron, Tom S., Tony C., and William Athing. Thank you ever so much, patrons.
Hi, this is Eddie Zerbinski from beautiful Quebec City. Vous écoutez CoCoTALK.
As you're enjoying CoCoTALK, we also want to remind you about the CoCo Discord server. This is a place where people come to connect, to ask questions, to provide answers, to share information, and to socialize. So when you're done, why don't you head on over to the CoCo Discord server and we'll continue the conversation there. The easy to remember link is discord.cocotalk.live. See you on Discord. CoCo123 is the Glenside Color Computer Club community newsletter that's been in publication since 1985. While the Rainbow magazine may be gone, it doesn't mean you still can't have a cool CoCo periodical. Head on over to the Glenside Color Computer website at glensideccc.com and then click on the Documents link to view all the past issues of the CoCo123 newsletter. Not only can you read all of the past and present issues, we'd also love to hear some submissions from you. So if you'd like to send an article, a column, something to talk about, maybe even a program listing, send an email to glensideccc@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. The CoCo World Map is a cool community resource where you can view CoConuts from around the world. Head on over to map.cocotalk.live and see where your fellow CoConutians happen to be living on the planet Earth. If you would like to submit yourself to be on the CoCo map, send an email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live, and we look forward to seeing you on the CoCo map. Hey guys, it's Stevie Strode. If you've been watching CoCoTALK for a while, hopefully you understand that everyone is welcome to join this show. You don't need an impressive resume to get on. You just need to enjoy the CoCo and be willing to talk about it. There is no wrong way to CoCo. There is no wrong way to be a fan of the CoCo. There's no wrong way to be on CoCoTALK. You just have to want to talk CoCo. So if you would like to join us, then reach out to us on our Discord server, which is discord.cocotalk.live, or send an email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live, and let's get you on the show and let's talk about the CoCo.
Hi, I'm Tim, and you're watching CoCoTALK Live. And I'm playing Daggereth online like that idiot from the book.
Can you dial back on the condescension there as you respond there?
We now return you to CoCoTALK.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Who's New to Discord This Week?
SLC. My name is Tom. I'm from Norway. I'm mainly into Commodore 64. But the CoCo has been the desired computer to have in my collection for a while. I mainly spend my time archiving Commodore 64 tapes and coding the tools to verify integrity. Currently, my tool supports maybe 95 to 97% of all commercial tapes for Commodore 64 ever released. I am a bit stuck on a few things about the machine and I have absolutely zero experience with the system. The previous bios were edited for time's sake. Thanks to Melly, Boysontech, Paul Fiscarelli, Eric Canales, Terry Stagey, and the CoCoTALK patrons for boosting the server. Please consider joining Discord and visiting the welcome section to read these bios in full and see what the community has to offer. At discord.cocotalk.live.
From around the world, what you need to know. Get caught up on News with L. Curtis Boyle.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
Welcome back, folks. Just wanted to mention that in the chat there, Steve York actually is there, and he mentioned he had nothing whatsoever to do with that neck port of the Super Pitfall game. So, right from the horse's mouth. Okay, so first off in the news here, and I hope this is going to work okay because these images are flipping huge, and I already shrunk them just to get them to work. And can I share yet? I can't share yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you guys seeing that?
Yes.
Give me up.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yes.
So we've been following Roger Taylor's kind of slow destruction of a Gimme chip to go through the layers to figure out what it looks like. And he just released yesterday some super high-res pictures of the Gimme with various levels of acid bath, I believe is what the different acid ones are, and then also the raw metal. These images are like 28,000 by 28,000 pixels. They're 170 meg each in JPEG compressed format. Now, I made special versions here because when I was loading those up, it was taking so long to even scroll it or anything else. That would be pretty well unusable in the show. So I shrunk them down pretty drastically to get them here in fairly decent quality. But this here is, for example, the acid level 1 bath, I guess. And I won't show you zooming up all of them, but you can kind of zoom up and see, intricate little details here as it kind of re-renders. You can see the people that did it up in the corner. But the level of detail in this is just flipping amazing.
I can see the 256 color mode. There it is.
You can see like the pin number here on the side. Now at this level, you can't see the pins themselves too much. I guess this is where the pins actually are. But you can see all the different parts of the chip and the intricacy of the circuits and stuff here. And you got to consider this is a very simple chip compared to modern times. And it still looks, hideously complex. I don't know how you electronic guys do this stuff. Like, how do you design something with this much of a hodgepodge of stuff here? I don't even understand it. I'll leave Pedro and Rick to answer that question.
One guy did that little teeny tiny little bitty bit up in the upper left corner there, but that's all he ever did, and he was there for 22 years. So.
Any comments from you, Pedro, since you also helped design circuits and stuff? You're muted. You're muted, Pedro.
Yeah, I wish I could do that. I'm kind of confused because it looks like I'm looking at a shopping mall here. It's yeah,
this is the map of where Stevie and Jason were earlier, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I see it. Yeah, no, I wish I could do stuff like. I mean, I basically kind of understand it. How they etch away stuff to make transistors and stuff, and then you get a bunch of transistors together to simulate components and stuff. And in theory, I understand it, but no, this is fantastic.
But it gets deep so quick. Like, you have to put things in certain places because the timing of the electrons going across the chip.
And they might jump wires nowadays.
And it's just, whoa.
And capacitances that'll, just happen because things are so close to each other.
Look, that's how my keyboard looked when I opened it up. And saw all the buttons and things. And wires.
That's me with anything with soldering, really. I could be making an RS-232 cable, and this is what it looks like to me.
And they did this on paper and photo reduced the paper.
Yeah, like the original 6809 design, this entire thing, this type of thing for the 6809 chip was hand drawn. It was done by draftsmen.
They had to wear special socks to walk across the paper to work on certain parts of it.
Wow.
Yeah, just blows my mind. And I mean, the Gimme, I don't know how many transistors are in the Gimme. Maybe 100,000 if you're lucky. And I mean, modern chips have how many? What is it? Are we into trillions yet? Or are we still in the 10 billion range?
I don't know. We're in the trillions. I'm not sure.
But yeah, it's just insane.
It's insane. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, it's come to the point where the number of transistors doesn't matter. Efficiency doesn't matter. We've got so many transistors to throw at it.
And now quantum physics is what matters because it's literally jumping barriers.
Well, that's going to be the next thing is we can throw 10 trillion transistors at it, but it makes it too difficult. I mean, makes it too complex from here to there.
Yeah, and you got to have to heat and stuff too. Like if you get too many things running too close together, it'll heat up too much and start crashing.
We'll have to simplify again just to get things physically closer together to make the speed come up more.
I mean, they're almost measuring these traces in atom widths now.
Yep. Mark Siegel's on the stream, Facebook. He says the gimmies were done on a computer.
Yeah, so the 689 was definitely done by hand. I've seen the pictures of the.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane. Anyway, I won't go through zoom up all of them here unless you guys want to see something particular, but I'll go through the different stages here. Now, he called them acid 1 through acid 5. So I'm assuming the acid bath strips a layer off and then you get to see what's underneath that. You keep working your way down.
Yes.
Right. Destroy more and more. And
yeah. So this is acid bath number 2. And then acid bath number 3. Now this wasn't a multi-layer board though, or multi-layer chip design, was it? Was it just a 2-layer?
Well, they inherently are. I mean, you've got the X and Y's and different layers of substrates of different doping levels of silicon. And so as you eat through, not only do you see the interconnections, but you see what's inside each transistor, if you will.
Okay.
So
before, didn't see much of a change there. There's 5. Which is looking a bit more bare. And then this one he labeled as metal. So that one I think I will zoom a bit.
Mark is saying even ROMs are like this.
How many volts go across those lines?
I don't know.
We're headed towards zero as fast as we can.
Yeah.
It's pretty low, isn't it?
Yeah, these were 5-volt chips.
I believe so.
3.3 volts got super deal, and now a lot of CPUs are using, 1 volt or less, or just over 1 volt.
And inside the chip, you go lower.
So. Yeah. I just don't know what the voltage is. I mean, it's beautiful. This looks like, you could put this on a canvas and it could look like it could be some.
Hang it up as wall art in the museum or something, right?
Oh, wallpaper in my house, and hey, that's one chip.
I could totally see this in an art gallery.
So what is that, a hair?
I have no idea. There's a few of them, or whatever, or there might be bits of.
I think those
whatever
are
left
the
over
wires.
from the acid bath.
Well, you know how big a Gimme is, so scroll back, and this is somewhere in the middle of that.
I think each pin will have a wire that goes in.
Yeah. Well, these big circular things near the top here, that's the actual pins going out to the pins that plug into the socket, right?
Well, no, the big lumps are the wires that go out to the carrier to the pins.
Yeah.
So
those wires are hair thin.
Right. You saw a couple of the hair thin wires, like the last scroll back, I think.
This one?
Yeah, there's a couple there.
Here.
Yeah.
We have no idea, do we?
Well, those are the teeny tiny, when you see the inside of a chip and there's teeny tiny little less than a hair wires, those are the ones that those like that size stuff is anyway.
Yeah, so like put an EEPROM under a magnifying glass.
So they have to stay within certain ranges to keep wires away from each other, right? Or the voltage would jump or not?
Well, and you get straight capacitance and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's why lower and lower voltages for everything, so you can get tighter and tighter together.
And here you can tell it's a 1987 Gimme with their code word for that particular one, tortilla. I'm not sure what the other numbers mean. And that is that the VLSI logo, the original one? Right below
it says BTI.
Or BTI? What does that stand for?
Very tiny insides.
A very large scale integration.
It says 2030 there. That's when it expires.
Yeah, I'm not sure what those numbers on the side are. I honestly don't.
I don't know.
You can see, like in the lower left, you can see that kind of blue distorted color of the metal there. I'm assuming that's the acid bath damaging the metal a little bit, maybe at that point.
So those letters are pretty tiny.
Yeah, I mean, if I scroll up this entire thing, this is the interior of the Gimme chip. I mean, the Gimme chip packaging is larger than the Gimme chip internally. Like if you remove the cover of the chip itself, it's a tiny little square that's maybe a quarter the size of the chip. What we consider the chip itself.
Yeah, generally chips are that way. The packaging is way bigger.
Yeah, and that's basically to make room for wires to come out to go into sockets and stuff, for pins.
Yeah.
So this is like really small.
So is the silicone little tiny chips here and there, or is it actually the lines that are made from the silicone? Your silicone.
It's actually the layers. It's like the layers this acid is eating through comprise the silicon. So you have a base layer, and then you have a contrasting polarity layer, and you have another base layer, and it's all just smashed onto this one thing. So as the acid eats through, you're sort of getting the N layer, and then the P layer, and then the next N layer, and it's.
So you're looking at silicon.
Yeah, it's like a layer cake where you've got one kind of material is the base layer, and then you've got another layer above it that is electrically different. They're both different kinds of silicon with different kinds of impurities added. And it's the junctions and where those layers intersect that give it the electrical capability their circuit needs.
Well, I can make one of those then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to need a couple more bucks, but
It might be about a 20 transistor cake, I think, in your case, Ron. It would be 100,000.
Just throw it in the oven. Mix it up, throw it in the oven. You got a gimme.
Explain it so well.
No, it's just fascinating that we actually, after all these years, finally managed to see the full interior of a Gimme chip. And like I said, I've already reduced these down by 25% on each axis. So these are much smaller than the actual ones that Roger uploaded to Facebook. Like I said, they're 170 meg compressed each image. And if you want to see the full details, I would go grab those. I tried running them on here and it was bogging my machine down so badly. I just said, I can't do this in live.
So is this the actual color we're looking at too, or has it been changed?
I'm assuming it's the proper color because there is some on some of the other acid layers here. It gets to be quite different, as you can see here.
We're digging into the copper here, are we?
Is that what it is? I have no idea.
Looks like when I take a picture of your heat values.
Yeah, infrared.
Yeah.
And does, or like you say.
I mean, this is fascinating. There's a guy I saw, a video of a guy who's doing this stuff in his house, and he's actually making chips in his house somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're tater chips, is what they
They're
are.
tater chips.
Oh yeah, you can actually see they're actually starting to eat through the metal into the substrate and losing the text a little bit. Okay, it is acid. Very, very corrosive.
But fascinating stuff. Now you guys that actually do hardware and are familiar with designing hardware and stuff here, I mean, everybody's been speculating, does the original 86 Gimme possibly have remnants of some of these extra modes that Mark mentioned during the interview that they were originally planning on but never came out in the final release versions of the chip? Though the 86 Gimme does have some quirks that Nick and a few others have discovered that looks like it might have had remnants of it, just not fully operational. At this level of detail, is there any way to figure out if that stuff is legitimately in there or spots of it are in there or anything like that? Or do you have to really understand the chip first to even have a clue what any of this means?
Well, I couldn't say for sure, but I know reverse engineering these chips, this is one of the steps in reverse engineering these things. I know, China does this sort of stuff when they're going to make their own chip. But I imagine that you can look at a group of stuff and say, well, this is what, this section more or less does.
The entire process is documented at visual6502.org. When they went through and took apart an old Intel 4004 and then a 6502, and they did all these scans and then used software to build a network list of what all the different traces and vias and things meant, and to be able to recreate the chip itself fully as software. So yeah, these are some of the early steps, but then yes, you can take these pictures and you can trace them both electronically and visually. Just look, people that do this kind of engineering can look and start to identify what the different kinds of sections of the chip are for and what the components are for. And then the process that from end to end is on that website. So they have a simulation of 6502 playing Space Invaders or something like that, and how it all worked, including how the software works. So you can see how they trace the net list out, things like that. So give that site a shot if you want to get all the way end to end on how this kind of thing works.
I think I've seen that site actually. But what's the site again?
Visual6502.org.
Oh, Visual6502. Okay.
They also did the ARM chip, the Intel 4004. They're adding more chips all the time. Cool. And they have a simulator that you can put hex codes or assembly code in and watch it execute gate by gate across the chip. It's very, very cool stuff.
So the pictures were analyzed both by software and people, I imagine?
Yes.
Okay.
And they had to take the software analysis and fix some of the guesses because it didn't trace the traces exactly right. So they had to kind of help it go, no, this is where this line actually ends and this is some other gate, things like that.
Okay.
But they
And
have
you should be able to
articles on that.
backtrace within the chip, I'm assuming, because each pin has a designated function that is publicly available and known. You know,
Correct.
what each pin does. So you can kind of trace, that pin to the circuitry to figure out, this is controlling the timer interrupt or something like that. If you
Well, you got your black box problem. There is so much inside the black box that no. It's
Yeah, that's why they use software to kind of leverage a lot of that, looking at the picture and the pinouts. But
so the software kind of scan through and figure out that the circuit ends up going out to this
Yeah, it
pin
starts
and
trying
goes
to
through
do
these other circuits or whatever.
But you can watch it go gate by gate, and you can see where when you put the opcode in, these are all the lines that light up, and this is exactly what goes through inside the chip to the outputs. It's amazing, and you can watch it step through it. So you just give it a run, and you'll get a pretty good visual view of how this stuff works. It doesn't make you an engineer, but at least it gives you an idea of what the lightning is doing inside the rock.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Anyways, especially for you hardware guys, but also for people who want, like full color prints on the wall type thing. I think this is a fascinating, and so it's a fascinating bit of CoCo history too.
And like I said, at any reasonable level of detail, I could do my whole living room in a wallpaper of this.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't repeat. It would just be the one.
There's 6 photos, Rick. They're all 24,000 by 24,000 pixels. So go right ahead.
So if I just had a whole bunch, my old graphics printer from when I worked at the call center that did the 4-foot wide sheets, yeah, that would have been great.
Like I'm inside the chip. I know how.
I probably would have got fired for using up all of the printer ink, but.
For those of you who see the original movie Tron, when you're getting zapped into the computer, this is what you see on the way down.
This is it. Yeah.
This is it, yes.
Turn left at the third NAND gate.
Yeah. Oh, wait, where was that here? Was that in row 5? Yeah, no, it's amazing stuff.
Now we just need an adventure game where you actually go in there.
Yeah, you can make a Core Wars where you're actually
cool.
controlling the gates yourself, and you have to travel through this entire honking big map.
Oh, there you go,
Yeah.
Nick. You've got your next game.
Anyway, definitely go check it out. It's on Facebook. I think Roger's got the Patreon site too, where I think he's got these things here as well. And of course, if you're on the Patreon, I think you get some stuff earlier than the rest of the public sees. But I mean, they are trying to figure out if there is any hints of some stuff in there. They haven't done this level of detail yet on the 86 Gimme, which is the one that potentially does have some leftovers of some of the extra hardware features that had been planned but never released. So, like Nick, you'd mentioned that you found some quirky bits where if you write to one location, it shows up on the video output in 2.
Yeah, some weird things.
So, but the 87 Gimme, which is what we're looking at now, did not have any of those weird bits.
Wow, that we know of.
The early one would be more interesting because it would be cruder, which means it would be easier to figure out what they were doing.
Is that a real word?
Well,
we can try it in CoCoTALK and find out.
Yeah, see if it works. No, it's too long. Never mind.
Anyway, definitely go download it and check it out. It's on Facebook in the CoCo group. It's on Roger's Patreon, which we've covered before in the show. If you want to, further Roger's work here, because this is not the cheapest thing in the world to do all this kind of stuff either. And of course, you're destroying these chips. I mean, the only way you can get to this level of detail is these acid bath stuff. The chip is completely non-functional at this point. So you're sacrificing gimmies to do this.
I have some to sacrifice. If anyone needs gimmies with all their little legs broke off, some of my customers have given me some. So,
I can't remember. Was Roger asking for some other ones to do? Oh no, he was asking if he could get one of the prototype ones from the pre.
Yeah.
Release.
No one cares anymore.
Anyway, it's good stuff. So
yeah, it's really cool.
I'll stop that share because that was in a completely different program. It was really crashing my browser when I tried to load these in there. So actually use the graphics viewer instead. So we'll switch now to the regular stuff. Okay. So next to that, Grim Major's released the latest full download, which he does every once in a while here, where he basically takes every single thing that's on the Color Computer Archive and makes one big zip download. You can go for the SDC.
Cool.
So if you've joined the CoCo community later, or you got an older version of it and you don't want to try to hunt down every single thing that's been added since you got a big batch 2 years ago or something, you can go to this specific URL and actually get the current SDC. Now you see here, it's a 343 meg zipped download, which contains magazines, documentation, hardware manuals, software of all kinds, from games to operating systems to productivity apps to everything else. That's basically the entire collection in one. And he also has a bit of a changelog you can also click on here if you want to kind of go through and see what's been added in different parts. And then he's got them kind of categorized too. And he actually goes through mentioning what all has been updated. Sometimes you get updated fixes to programs. You might get something that, was a little bit corrupt the first upload and it doesn't quite play right, or it has some weird, pirate screen that scrambles stuff. So he'll mention that, we've got a fixed version of that. And then he also gives you when he's done other updates here too. So you can see like the previous update was actually done in August of 2020. And the current one is up to February 11th here. But there's a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go through everything here, but definitely if you've joined the CoCo community lately, or you just got a CoCo SD set for the first time, and you want to get a really up-to-date batch of every single piece of software, plus the magazines, plus documentation, everything else, go grab this. The URL is in our news topic suggestions in the CoCoTALK part of our Discord, if you want to grab the link for it, or you can see it on the top of the screen here right now. Maybe depending if you're running it, maybe on an actual computer, not a phone. But anyway, go grab that. He does these every once in a while. It's been a couple of years since he did the last one, about a year and a half, just about. And it definitely helps if you've not been in the CoCo community very long and you don't even know where to start. This will give you everything, and then you can just go run through it all and find stuff you like. So thanks to him for that. Next up, Terry Steggy, who runs the Retro Tech Time. He actually did the commercial for the CoCo Fest that we saw earlier. He's got his own YouTube channel and he does his own videos here. So this time he did a mail call. So this is basically stuff that people have sent him in the mail. Now I'm going to play one little bit of it here. I'll mention some of the other things first. So basically there's a lot of CoCo stuff in here. He's got, some software that's come in the original packaging. Like he's got the screen dump utilities, for example, that came in the plastic case with the cassette, with the manual and everything else. And the plastic see-through case hasn't even yellowed. He's got a pristine one. It looks really nice shape. He's also got some realistic stuff like, Radio Shack stuff that's not technically the CoCo. So he's got a mixture of different things that he's received. But this one here I want to show is one that he's curious about. And I don't know if anybody else has seen this. So basically we know that there was a redistributed version of the CoCo 1F board called the TDP100, Tandy Distributor Products. And we've all seen it. It looks like a CoCo 2 case, basically, with a different label on it. It had their own branded versions of joysticks and some of the cartridge games, etc. Now, what he found here, and this person sent them this one, is that it's actually a CoCo 1 case, like the 64K CoCo 1. So the white case, the full-size CoCo 1, not the TDP. The TDP 100 label is metallic, so it's professionally done. It's not like a hack job that somebody just did on their own. But it doesn't look the same as the regular TDP labels either. So he's wondering if this was either a prototype TDP 100, not for official release, or an extremely early version of the TDP 100 that maybe only had a few different versions made. Now, Ron, you've got a TDP 100 in your background right now, I can see. So you can see that it's got that little center label that says TDP 100. It's a square label that's quite small. This actually is a badge that fits it across where the CoCo one normally would be. So I will play that clip and you guys can kind of check it out.
Thanks for watching. Thank you to subscriber Rick983. Rick sent in a really interesting machine to me. He actually donated it. So I'm going to take it apart and see if I can figure out exactly what it is. It says that it's a CoCo 1, which it looks like it from the case and from all of the ports that are on it. The interesting thing, though, is when you look at the top, it actually says it's a TDP Electronics System 100 personal computer. This machine has me pretty perplexed. I'm wondering if it was possibly a pre-production run for the TDP 100. The case badge looks to be legitimate as far as it's metal. It's embossed, but it does not look like a standard TDP 100 badge. I'm going to do a special video on my TDP collection, so I will bring this back and put that in that video as well as a comparison, but At this point, I am not sure what to make of this machine.
So thoughts, Ron? I mean, you've got a TB100, a few of the other people here too. Like that looks like even the bottom label says Radio Shack. So it looks like a CoCo 1, the 64K CoCo 1 that was released in September of 83, or what's when it was announced in Rainbow anyway.
Yeah, I would say so. Maybe it is a early thing. Who knows? Somebody could have made the plate up, you know? I mean, that's the only thing that's different, right? Just the plate.
Yeah, but he said it's metallic, it's embossed. Like somebody would have had to spend some money to make that. Yeah. That's not something you could just jury rig up quickly. You'd have to spend some money on that. So maybe it is a prototype. I don't know.
Could be.
Have you ever seen a TDP label that looks like that, like wide and narrow though?
And it doesn't say 100 on it either.
Oh, that's right.
It just says TDP system. What does it say? TDP electronics, all the system 100s to the side. Okay.
Yeah, but, personal computer.
Yeah.
Now, what I know the label on a real TDP, quote unquote, is a square label. What does it say exactly on that?
Mine says TDP electronics in the blue, and then system 100 personal computer, and then under that it says 16K RAM extended.
Okay, so it actually has the specs of the computer too. So,
and this one, the label doesn't even fill the hole well, and so forth. So maybe it is some kind of thrown together demo prototype.
Mark Siegel says it may have been educational.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I don't know if the TDP came with a chiclet keyboard.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. The white case never came out with a chiclet keyboard, did it?
The white case CoCo 1 didn't. It came out with a melted keyboard.
Yeah, it never came out with that one.
Yeah,
that keyboard never did. So that's a bit weird too.
Yeah, and the other thing too, if this is an educational TDP 100, I would think it would say TDP 100 on the bottom. I'm sure yours does, Ron, right?
Yeah.
Then this one says Radio Shack. It says TDP on the top case.
What's inside? Has he got?
Yeah, he hasn't opened it up yet. He said he's going to do a future video going into it. He just received it. This was his mailbag call episode. So basically stuff that got donated to him. But this looks rather intriguing. Like this might be a rather unique piece of history, or it's a cobbled together homemade.
It could even be a cobbled one. Yeah.
So I'd be interesting to see what's on the inside. If I remember correctly, the TDP 100 circuit board, is it an F board or is it a CoCo 2 style board? Does anybody know off the top of their head?
Nope.
And if it's cobbled together, he might have just made that badge up to fill in.
Yeah, but whoever did do that, then like did some expense to it because it's a metallic embossed, like three-dimensionally embossed label. It's not just a flat, cheapy thing. It's something you would have spent some money on.
Or went to a printer to print it out. I don't know.
But it is a Pierce in their computer, so.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Like Terry is, I'm a bit perplexed by this too. So I'm interested to see what the insides look like. Is it a standard F board 64K like a CoCo 1, like the case seems to reflect? And the fact that the bottom case has the Radio Shack stickers, not TDP electronic stickers, which from what Ron said, that sounds like the actual TDP production run ones actually have TDP stickers in the bottom, not Tandy or Radio Shack ones. I mean, pretty cool stuff. So Terry, we're looking forward to your follow-up video where you rip the thing apart and we get to see what's on the inside. Then we'll give it an acid bath and make wallpaper out of it.
Yeah. Or it's been spray painted. Because it's a very white.
Yeah, one other thing I was trying to remember, like the CoCo 1 64K model, the white one, did it have the white around here, or did the plastic or the melty keyboard fill that whole thing? I can't remember.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I got a picture of a TDP 100 in the box with a chiclet keyboard with a different case. So it did come with a chiclet, I guess.
Yeah, I seem to recall the very first TDP ads in Rainbow, I think, did have the chiclet keyboard, if I remember.
Okay.
I think the later ones went with melted. I can't remember though.
Yeah,
when the CoCo 164K that this case is based on came out, that's just when they were transitioning from chiclet to the melted. And the CoCo 2s, as far as I know, none of them had chiclet keyboards. They were all the melty keyboard.
Is Mark Siegel on the line still?
Yep.
Could ask him.
Yeah, he said that would have been a plastic insert. I'm assuming he's talking about the top label.
So not a sticker.
I have a picture of the insides of my TDP 100. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I can stop sharing for that. Just
Okay.
As we live research this on the air.
Hey.
Do you see it?
Yep.
Yep. Looks like a CoCo.
Yeah, it's even got the 285 part number in the lower left corner, which is the F board number, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is basically an F board, 64K CoCo F board.
This had a some kind of a mod for the
video. Yeah, that was that. Oh yeah.
But I took it out.
I think it's a shield over the RAM there. I remember that from the CoCo version.
So I've got a F board case top.
Oh, you want to share yours too then?
Share, no, but I just there you can see it. So the gray is just painted along with the rest of the case.
Yeah, that I do remember. And then the CoCo 1 was white, I think, with the melty keyboard.
Yeah, let me see if I can get back to gallery so everyone can still see it. Yeah, it's dirty, but yeah, but also the logo, the RAM badge. There's no hole for that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. The last one that had that was the E boards, as far as I know. Back when they still the D board and C board, I think at 4K and 16K only. The F board had 16 and 32. I don't think they made E boards with 4K, and then once they got to the F board or 285 board, they just removed it entirely. That's when they started selling them only at 16 or 64.
So paint it white, and it's going to look just like the one
and
he has.
Oh, yeah.
And Mark did say most of the TDP were bulk buys, so they could have had any version in them.
Yeah, I'm betting that was just an early buy.
Yeah, I guess the one thing I'd be curious then, was it an official one or was it like a prototype or kind of getting the design, figure out what they wanted to actually sell it as? Because the CoCo 1 case that one's in and the TDP case, if I remember, aren't quite the same. Yeah, like the air holes and stuff are completely different. Like that's a totally different design top.
So there's the chiclet keyboard right in the box.
Yeah. And the case is different. I mean, you've got the black background, not white. You've got the air holes as wide slats, not just on the edges.
That's not even the same molding.
Yeah, it's a totally different case.
Yeah.
But did you see the badge on the manual you just had there?
Yeah.
It's the same as the badge that they.
That's true. It is.
You want to show that again, Ron? I missed that.
Yeah, show it again. Yeah, you're right. Okay, hang on. Share screen. Share. Ta-da! It is the same.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That kind of fixes it. It's probably a real thing.
Oh, the badge in the manual. Yeah.
All right.
Mystery salt.
Yep.
Just
probably
an early run.
But didn't Mark say that badge would have been a plastic insert and not just a metal sticker label? You know, like
he was speculating about that. I saw that in the chat.
Yeah, I'd say.
But I know Terry, if you listen to the video, he actually says it's a metallic label with embossing, 3D embossing. So that's not a plastic insert, I don't think.
Well, you can get
when he opens it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait for Terry's sequel on that one. So Terry, get on it already. We want to see what's on the inside of that sucker. And in particular on the inside of the top case, if there's any mention, like, sometimes there's little scrawled notes and stuff or signatures from people that have, quality tested or whatever to see what they've got in there.
Yeah, like the like that. Oops.
Yeah. Because it would at least date the case somewhat. You kind of get a rough idea.
Damn graffiti artist.
Here's the logo at the top.
So that's one of those rubberized metallic ones.
Another plasticky thing.
Yeah, that's on my machine. And look at the.
Yeah, the joystick's got it too.
Joystick.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, even the cartridges had TDP 100 on them too. They were blue too, weren't they?
That was probably when they had more money to invest in, different layout or different marketing, like a brand identity.
Yeah, because these were sold in non-Radio Shack stores.
So was TDP a separate company? completely, or just
No,
a rebranding?
Tandy just Radio Shack wouldn't sell Radio Shack outside of Radio Shack.
Right.
So Tandy Data Products was just, okay, here's Radio Shack crap that doesn't have anything to do with Radio Shack. We're Tandy now.
Just a different
It's
division
just-
of the parent.
It's just
company.
weird. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, as far as I understand, and Mark, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat there, but I understand that Tandy Distributor Products was meant for a way to distribute Tandy stuff to non-Tandy Radio Shack stores. You could sell it in an RCA store or whatever else. But it was essentially, Tandy equipment just rebranded so that it detached itself from the Radio Shack branding.
You can sell it in Sears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
And it was a fairly short-lived experiment too. Didn't it only last like 8 months or a year or something? I don't remember the TDPs hanging around in the rainbow ads too much. I know Spectrum Projects, Bob Rosen bought a whack load of them, and he included joysticks and the super bust out cartridges, all packaged to sell it a bit cheaper than Tandy was selling them at the time.
Here's one more screen to share. It's a CoCo 2 next to it. See the difference or the similarities, I guess. The vents are the same, but and it has that dip.
Yeah, it's a bit longer, and it's also got the kind of a lip for your wrist. It looks like is that raised a bit?
Yep,
it's got the lighter keyboard. Yeah,
looks like it's gripped
to me. What does TDP stand for?
Tandy Data Products.
Tandy Data Products. Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I always thought it meant Tandy Distributor Products, but I must have got that from some wrong source. And Mikey in the chat, he says that I remember playing with the TDP 100 in the store. Don't remember if it was a Sears or a Montgomery Ward. So definitely that was outside of Radio Shack.
Yeah, I remember Sears and Dallas had them. So
yeah, I don't ever remember seeing TDPs up in Canada unless somebody ordered it mail.
I remember this because my mom had a Sears credit card, and I really wanted her to buy me a computer.
Did you guys ever notice that there's a difference between the white case and the gray case CoCo 1? The molding. Like I have a little example. I'll just share it real quick and see if you've ever seen this difference. Do you see this? There's a actual embossing around.
Oh, that line.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't have one on the gray case, and it does here.
That's so they could put a new insert in the mold and change the back panel.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was around the time they were starting to design the deluxe CoCo 2, so maybe that was part of.
And these are screen printed, and these are embossed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that fits that custom insert.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm trying to remember between the D&E boards and the F board on the CoCo 1, like the original gray ones, didn't it? It was embossed on some and printed on others. I think the F boards were usually embossed too.
Yeah. See how
the
it's
gray
got
cases.
a line that goes around and down, and there's a line around the switch there.
This one I've got in my hands here is embossed with that line.
You want to show that there?
Is it gray?
Yeah.
Oh.
Zoom yourself up there, Mark, so we can see it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what the F board ones I remember seeing, because I have quite a few friends of mine here that had the F board ones, and it was embossed.
Yeah.
The D&Es had the black, label overprint stuff.
Yeah, so it's got that line, that what you call that line all the way around it there too.
So you just spray paint that white, and you've got a white case one.
Yeah, the TDP has that too.
Yeah.
The TDP has that embossed line too.
I'm guessing, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong once again here, but I'm guessing because at this point, this was in mid to late '83, the deluxe was already well into design, and that they probably wanted to make a generic top case minus the back panel so they could swap in the deluxe CoCo, which had composite ports and had a serial port and some other stuff that you would need some cutouts for. And rather than have to redo the entire case as a separate mold, you just do the one little back panel.
Yeah, so that's a D board.
Yeah, that's what I had in my D board.
Yeah.
Well, used one, I'd say too.
At least the 3D, the embossed ones, actually, you can still read them 40 years later, was the D&E board ones. Those things would just rub off, and you eventually couldn't remember what the hell was what, unless you knew the connectors. Cool. So hey, Terry, get on that other one here. Just drop anything else you're doing and just do that video. I want to see what's going on.
Before the end of the show.
Anyway, go check out his channel. And he's, of course, been doing our production ads and stuff for the CoCo Fest and stuff, too, as well. So he's got a lot of interesting stuff on his channel.
So, by the way, in the chat, Mark is mentioning that some of the 1000s were TDP models also.
Really?
Oh, I never saw those.
Me neither.
Cool. Anyway, now we're on to some MC10 news other than the Jim Gary stuff. So we've been covering Robert Sieg doing his tile system, which is a machine language driver that links directly into BASICs. You just use print statements and stuff like that. And he's got 8 or 6x8 tiles, basically, pixel 4-color art. And then he's got ways of doing a poke that'll reset the size of the tiles, so you can actually switch where it's printing multiple characters in one shot as one character. And he decided to do an animation here with Sonic the Hedgehog. So I'll play a little bit of this here. And this is all a basic program running. It's just doing print statements to do this. You can see some of the animations he's done here. Now he's filled up like 21 tiles just to do this one particular animation, but it shows that some of the stuff you can do, and this is in BASIC. So you can actually write some pretty decent games, I think, using this tile system that he's got here in BASIC. And if you've got, some of the memory expander use, which we're going to get into in a later story here with 8-Bits in the Basement, you could probably write some pretty decent arcade games now with an MCX BASIC or the SDX32 BASIC. So glad Robert's continuing to work on that. That's bringing up some possibilities of doing some games that would have been impossible to do in BASIC before in the MC10.
Sonic on the MC10, that would be a feat.
Yeah, it would. That would be a feat on the CoCo.
Oh, yeah.
Not impossible. This one here, it's an MC10 running a random, print a graphic character on the screen, a random tone, but it's by Nick and Felice, which is a channel I've never heard of before. It doesn't have very many views. But I wanted to just show it briefly here because basically we've seen a resurgence of interest in the MC10 lately. In fact, in the Amigos Discord, one of the people there just bought an Alice, the complete one in the suitcase, the red suitcase with the little foam pads for the manual and the MC10, the Alice itself, some cassettes that came with it, etc. And he's pretty excited to be getting into it too. We've seen those ML engine-based games coming from Japan. There's a bunch of them, which I'll should be showing a little bit of here a little bit too. But the fact that there's been so much interest in it lately and seems to be picking up steam, I mean, how long is it going to be before it's $300 to pick up an MC10 is my question. So, I mean, everybody's done this program when they first got their CoCo type thing, but I don't know if this MC10 is new to these people or if it's something they've had in the closet just brought out, but just to show that, interest in the MC10 is definitely going up and up.
The MC10 is like a perfect candidate to like recreate such a small board, such a small case, could be easily 3D printed.
Yeah,
probably cheaper to make them than to buy them.
I'm trying to remember, wasn't Ed doing a MC10?
I thought he did. I thought he printed one.
I know he's done some upgrades, like composite video and stuff like that. And of course, Brendan's actually done that little riser to fit a CoCo VGA inside of an MC10.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's still in the chat here, but 8-Bits in the Basement was in there earlier, I know. And he did an episode on the MC10, and he actually he's got the MCX 128 128K RAM plus the enhanced BASIC that Darren Atkinson did. Now, like many people in Europe, trying to order anything from the States is really hard and expensive, and you can't get it. And Ed's been, of course, due to various reasons, has not had anything in stock. But what he discovered here is that Darren Atkinson had actually published the actual schematics and the software to burn on the ROMs, etc., on his own site before it became a commercial product. And then, just to be different, I guess, or masochistic or something, he decided not to actually download Gerber files and get somebody to make the board for it. He decided to hand wire the whole stupid thing. So that's what he did here. So we'll show that. I'll skip a little bit ahead here.
You should.
There's his Alice, as you can see. And it kind of goes an explanation what an Alice is in case you haven't seen it before. And then he gets into his get a little picture of his version of the SDX 128 here.
Hours of sitting over a soldering iron got me this. This here is the finished product. So what we'll do is we'll take a little look at it and just see what it's made up of. And we'll take off the elastic bands and the cardboard and I'll explain to you what exactly it is. Okay, so I'm after taking this guy's cardboard and elastic bands off, and I'd like to introduce you to the naked version of my hand-built, cobbled-together MCX.
This is a family show.
Memory expansion for the Alice.
This is very colorful spaghetti.
Now this guy
incredible amount of work.
And a connector here, and the connector plugs into the back of your Alice
nice and neat.
expansion port here. And
yeah, my experience of soldering have never been like that.
And it should work. And what makes it work are these 4 chips here. And just very quickly what they are, this guy here is a 74LS21. So this is a dual quad input and gate. Down here we have a PLD, or a programmable logic device. And this here is a GAL 22V10. This guy is 128 kilobytes of static RAM. This guy that gives us our memory on board or our upgrade. And down here we have a ROM chip which holds the version of MSX Basic that this board gives you. And you can use 3 different types of ROMs. You can use a 16 kilobyte, a 32 or a 64 kilobyte. Now I've opted to go for the 32 kilobyte, and the reason for that is that the ROM on this board is only 16K big. But I've decided to install the 2 versions that are available, because there is a version for the MC10 as it has a QWERTY keyboard, and there's also another version for the Alice with its AZERTY keyboard. So I've installed both versions on this ROM, and I can switch between them using these jumpers down here. So that way this board that I've built is compatible, with both versions of.
It's the French English jumper.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, I will say that I had a lot of fun building this little board, and I learned a lot from it, and it was great and all the rest. But if it fell on the ground and broke in 2, I wouldn't be going to build it again. No, I'd be clicking on the Zipster zone, and I'd be looking to buy one of these from Ed Snyder, because to be honest with you, what he has looks to be a very high quality. It comes in a lovely 3D printed case, which kind of beats this, hands down. And it'll work out of the box. Plus, it will save you 11 hours, and they're cheap enough. They only cost $40. And away we'll go and see what this guy can do, eh? So just before we get into looking at that expansion.
So anyway, he goes through the various versions of BASIC. There's 3 versions that come. There's a basic MC10 BASIC that actually gives you 32K of RAM, basically. And then he goes through the regular MCX Enhanced BASIC and the large MCX Enhanced BASIC. One which gives you roughly 32K, but it assigns some P mode screens by default, like Extended BASIC does. And basically, the MCX BASIC adds a lot of Extended BASIC functionality. You have graphics modes and graphics commands and a bunch of things too. And then there's the large one, which actually basically uses the entire 128K or more of it anyway, where it actually gives you like 48K free in BASIC plus graphics modes and stuff. So it's a pretty enhanced version of BASIC. But then he decides to test out the RAM. So he does a little bit of Pac-Man playing, which we've all seen before. Now, I will say the screen colors that are showing up here are not what it really does. This is kind of washed up just from the TV and the camera that he's using. So it doesn't give you the full effect. But one of the things he actually did was playing Maisie, which is a game from the Japanese people that we've talked about doing these engine converts. Unfortunately, I don't know if you guys can even see here, but you can see the maze is in the background. It's a very faintly darker blue.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can quite see that. So this isn't giving it, justice to what it really looks like, but it's the first time I've actually seen somebody playing it on the keyboard and
throw the knives
trying to cram the arrow keys that are built in.
They kind of follow you around. Funny little guys. So, he got me. So yeah, you got to pick up the knives and you've got to throw them at the monsters in order to kill the little monsters. And then you get out through the door there that's flashing on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. And that's what the game is. And it gets harder and harder as you move on. This again is another fun little game, but there is no way that you could have played this with a 4 kilobyte Alice computer. But there you go. There's some of the games that this guy kind of opens up to you.
Anyway, I'll let you guys go and watch the whole video. It's actually pretty fun. A bit of tongue in cheek there. Having an 11-hour start. I like his comments on his case versus the 3D printed one that Ed uses. It's a great video, and if you guys want to see how to do the upgrade or how you even get some hints on to building your own MCX 128 from scratch,
where is he at?
He's in France, though I think he's originally from Ireland.
Look at that electrical
He's Irish
outlet.
from France, or he's in France from Ireland originally.
Check out that outlet there. Funky looking doodle thing.
Yeah, welcome to Europe.
Right.
I've seen those many times when I've been there.
How many volts is that coming out of there?
220.
So you can power your washer or dryer from your bench. Huh?
Yeah, right next to your hair dryer or whatever.
Your cell phone charger. Right next to it. I have to say that looking at the Alice and obviously the MC10, that keyboard is made for a man with thin fingers.
Right.
I am not that man.
or for young children.
Or for young children.
Which I think was the market they were kind of shooting for.
You pick it up like a phone and thumb type it.
So Pedro, I guess your next mission is to create the USB keyboard adapter for the MC10 and the Alice.
I think it should work. It's
if you think of it, yeah, it is bigger than a phone keyboard.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
I'm not very good at texting on my phone.
Yeah, and make sure that you put a little connector on the side for a digital joystick connected to the keys.
Yeah.
Well, Ed had a joystick adapter, or maybe Darren designed that one too. I can't remember, but there was a joystick adapter for the MC10 at one point, and there was somebody had made a disk drive adapter for it, so you could plug in a disk drive. I mean, now we've got the SD one, which gives you 32K RAM, plus it gives you disk style commands and directories and stuff, and drive wire support, iDrive wire. So now I will mention in here, he was trying to get this running because MCX Basic supports iDrive wire, but he couldn't get it to work properly. It just kept giving him errors. So Mikey, if you're in the chat there, you may want to give him a couple comments if you want to help him out on this to try to get it up and running, unless he's figured it out since the video was released. But I know he's having some issues trying to get iDrive wire to work with
What's
the
the
Alice
processor in that machine again?
6803.
Okay.
Which is basically a 6800 microcontroller version. It's got some extra hardware timers built into it, some static RAM built into the chip itself. But it's more really closely related to 6800 than a 6809. Sorry, what was that wrong?
It has an external clock like the 6809.
No, I don't think so, because I think it has an internal timer or 3 timers you can actually interrupt control. So I think it's internal.
Huh.
It'd be like a 6809, not a 6809E.
Okay.
And there is an Hitachi 6303 too, which actually does have a few enhancements, not anywhere near as many as the 609 has over the 6809, but you can get some enhancements on that chip too, and it's a straight plug-in upgrade. I don't know how much software supports that though, if any.
Do you know anybody that's done it?
Yes,
yeah,
I do know someone who's done it, and the problem is the ROM timings have to all be redone.
Like for cassette loads and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, James Diffendafer might have experimented too. I'm just trying to remember if he did.
There you go.
So you put it in, turn it on, and
now is the ROM socketed on an MC10, Alice, or is it soldered?
I don't think there's anything socketed on the MC10.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Which make upgrading the ROM a bit of a pain in the butt.
The keyboard is.
Because changing timing loops in the ROM wouldn't be that hard. If you could have it running in native mode where you're getting a 10 to 15% speed increase across the board. I don't know if it's quite that much on the MC10's native mode, but it'd be nice having an enhanced ROM.
So when will Nitrous 09 EOU be available for the MC10?
There's no MMU in the MC10, and it doesn't have quite as complicated of an interrupt system as we need.
So it's going to be level 1.
I wouldn't even be able to do level 1, I don't think.
Can't you do a software MMU?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. It's like Ron, do a software joystick.
Yeah.
Well, they got Sonic on it. Couldn't you do
that? There was a pause between me saying it and you saying nope.
Yeah, it was more like stunned bewilderment.
Dramatic effect.
Yeah.
So go check out the video, definitely. Next up, we've got Kieran Anscombe, who's actually in the chat, I believe, still too. So he's released a new version of his bin to CAS utility, which basically will take binary files for the CoCo or the Dragon and then convert them into CAS wave files or CAS files. I can't remember which one now off the top of my head. But basically, his old version had a compressing version option where you could actually have it so it would compress the size of the data so you could load in a bigger program faster than 1500 baud equivalent because it decompresses. Now, what he did here is he's made a new version that lets you bolt on ZX0 decompression, which uses a different utility for creating them. But this compresses better than the dzip his original version did. The code's a little bit bigger and it's a little bit slower, but it will compress more, which means you gain more speeding up loading off the tape than you lose from the decompressor running itself. So you can fit, program might have taken a minute to load originally, might take 50 seconds to load with this, or with the original decompression utility, and it might do it in 40 seconds with this. I don't know what the exact ratios are. But this is a utility that will let you make these fast loaders. It lets you break it apart into chunks, like you can different origin statements and stuff too. And he's actually got kind of a description here. Now this page here, if you guys haven't been to it, is basically his main Dragon page. This is Kieran's page. It has a whole bunch of stuff. He's got a little bit of history of the Dragon and various things. There's various software, including his extra emulators, Dungeons game, Blockdown game, GDB, dzip, assembler, blah, blah, blah. So he's got a ton of stuff in here. He's got Dragon demos, which does some of the VDG and SAM tricks for doing hardware scrolling using, basically the chips that are built into your CoCo 1, 2, or Dragon. And then he's got this new version of the cassette tools here that actually lets you do that. He did mention here both CAS or WAV on the chat. So anyway, if you guys are interested in that, if you want to make cassette-based software, which a lot of the Dragon people use, because dust drives weren't anywhere near as popular for the Dragon as they were for the CoCo, mainly due to cost. This is a way to actually get fast loaders working, which I know we've demonstrated. David Ladd doing some experiments with fiddling with the actual waveforms and changing the baud rate itself physically, and then combining with compression. And this is a better compression that David had used back at that time. And I know in his case, I think he had it running up to 16 times faster than normal or something like that. Like he was up at the 20,000 baud or something like that at some point. So this might actually increase that even better. I don't know if Dave's still on the call. I know he said he had to step away.
I'm right here. I said, ooh.
So David, you want to just kind of recap what you did? Like I know you did some experiments with the actual waveform itself, and then you added compression as well. Is that what you did?
Well, there's this project that someone did where they made their own fast loader. Mm-hmm. And I was tinkering with his, which what was Marble Maze? I'd have to pull up that because that was the largest game you could load from cassette, I think, was Marble Maze.
I know it was 13 granules and it required 64K. So yeah, it was pretty big.
But yeah, from cassette, it was lickety split. I think it was done loading before I typed all the pokes for the CoCo 3 version to get the high speed and patch basics timing for the quad speed load.
Which would be about 6,000 baud.
But yeah, just modifying basic to load twice as fast and then putting the CoCo 3 in double speed mode, then you're doubling it again. But I think the cassette, the fidelity of the cassettes couldn't handle anything more than the 2X though.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you had to make digital copies from a PC so they were like bit perfect rather than
right.
Cassette to get the super
yeah,
high
it
speed.
was coming from up with the compression that the guy did for the I can't even remember the name of the software at the moment, but he required a sound card, like a Sound Blaster or some USB device that could do 88 kilohertz playback. Not 44 like a CD player, but 88 kilohertz. So, but yeah, it loaded really fast.
Okay, yeah, I played around with that on real hardware for a bit too, and with real hardware from an actual cassette, I could only get it up to double speed loading.
Because 6060 is actually commenting here in the chat, and he said this is pretty much targeted making stuff that will still work recorded on tape. So you had tape running, I think, up to 6,000 baud on a CoCo 3 due to the changing the ROM code plus doing the double speed up poke. And then this is using software compression on the fly in the loader itself. So we had an existing version that used the older compression method. This new one, which compresses even better yet, would basically increase that. So this would actually give you pretty fast loading speeds on real cassettes, never mind if you enhanced it with 88 kilohertz sound card stuff and you got bit fidelity, so you could crank it up even faster.
Yeah, if I had a link handy, I'd send it to you so you could open it up, so that way you could show the difference. But
yeah, no, we covered it on the show right after you did it. You had like 6 screens
Yeah, it was-
running. Like, here's regular, here's double speed, here's quad speed. Here's now we're starting to use these digital sound card recordings to send it across with software compression added on for good measure. And it was like 10 to 15 times faster loading. Like even raw cassettes faster than Commodore 64 disk drive speed, but it was like almost catching up to CoCo disk speed at this point.
yeah, now I did use a old Sony Walkman CD player that I put the WAV files on and played it back. And strangely enough, they did still work, even though that's 44 kilohertz. And I was quite surprised, but at least it seemed to work at the high speed. So
that doesn't satisfy Nyquist. It shouldn't have worked, right?
Well, but it's binary. Encoded is analog, not analog. So
yeah, I guess. Yeah,
it's got a bit of slop move it can do
There's
between
fudge
transition
there, yeah.
and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it's fascinating because I mean, we didn't get too much into fast loads, for cassette, like the Spectrum or the C64, a bunch of other machines did, because our cassette was already one of the faster ones on the planet as it was. I mean, we were 3 times faster than the Model 1. And I did use the double speed poke on the CoCo 3, or even on the CoCo 1 and 2, just the regular ROM speed up poke at the time. There was one change you had to do to make it more reliable. You had to elongate the header, the very first part, you had to elongate it a bit to get it to catch right. But I had fully reliable dose speed. I was running 3,000 baud, or maybe it's equivalent to 2,700 baud or something, back in the day, and it worked pretty good until I got my disk drive. But this is pushing it up to a whole other realm when you got software compression on the fly while it's running. It also helps, you could use that same compression routine. There's no reason you have to restrict it to just being on cassette. You could actually put this into a disk loader. So if you want to load in like sound samples or graphics data or something like that, that won't fit onto a physical single floppy disk, and you don't want to make your game a multi-disc, swap disk type thing, you might be able to fit something like, 200K onto a 153K disk and not have to swap disks and actually just do it on the fly as a disk load too. So the routines, he's got some links here to get some of the routines and the actual utilities and stuff here too. So if you want to learn about either of the 2 compression methods he's been using, the original dzip or the new one, you can hit him up here. Plus, he's got a ton of other just cool utilities and code snippets and links and all kinds of stuff here. If you're looking for Sockmaster's old pages, like his Gimme reference and stuff like that, or all of his old demo pages and stuff, Karen is now hosting them all, thanks to John, which you can actually get up here. So yeah, that stuff's back on the web again, which is cool. Next up, Robin Hemmings and the Dragon Group on Facebook put this up, and this was pretty cool. So I don't know how many of you have watched the Netflix show Black Mirror.
I did.
A pretty good show, which I've started, but not even close to finish. But they have an interactive one called Black Mirror Bandersnatch, which I've not watched at all. Now, that's an interactive one, from what I understand. You interact with the So how does that work? I've never done it.
You start playing it, and it gives you choices. What should I do next? Kill the guy or move along?
It's like a choose your own adventure in movie form.
Oh, okay. Because I guess this guy was watching it, and he found one episode here kind of zooming up back to 1984, and it's actually got a 1984 calendar. You can see there, July 1984. But he's actually got a Manic Miner, I don't know if it's a manual. The box looks like the box for the Dragon 3264. So some Dragon guest appearance in the Black Mirror Bandersnatch. So that was kind of cool. I don't know if that's a Dragon user magazine here with screenshots or something. I can't quite read that, but that was kind of interesting. We've got multiple sightings of Hollywood movies that have, or TV shows that have had CoCos in them. It's things like Spinal Tap has them playing Polaris at one point, and Revenge of the Nerds 1, I think, had one.
Yeah, it did. I don't remember that.
I don't care if it's 1 or 2. I think it was 1.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
I know they have a CoCo 2 up there when they're playing the synthesizer, because he's running out on stage playing a CoCo 2.
That was in 1, I think, at the thing at the end.
Yeah, the big concert.
And then the Friday the 13th, where what's his name is playing the Zaxxon.
Oh, right. Yep. And Audio Spectrum Analyzers made some guest appearances every once in a while too, I've seen. But I haven't heard of too many shows having dragon stuff in it, so this is kind of cool that this one existed here. So if you guys have not played the Bandersnatch there, maybe check it out and you can actually get a glimpse of some dragon history in the background.
Yeah. I haven't gotten that far.
So
Okay, Curtis, I sent you a link, sir.
okay. So the last dragon story I have, and this is from Julian Brown. So he posted a link here to his GitHub in the Dragon Facebook group. So if you're not a member, you can go join that. Features designed for a RAM replacement board for a Dragon 32 Mark II version. Now, this is just a preliminary version. It's kind of a work in progress. So if you want to go check it out, but it's not fully tested yet. He's actually was waiting for some prototype boards he ordered to come in and try these out. But the one thing different about this is it's not trying to do standard, the dynamic RAM chips we had back in the day. This is making an upgrade to upgrade your Dragon using modern RAM chips that you can actually find in plentiful supply instead of trying to find the old 4164s, et cetera. So once he gets it fully up and running, it sounds like he's planning on either releasing the schematics completely free on GitHub like he's doing now for the preliminary version, or he might actually start manufacturing or getting somebody to manufacture them if you want to get some of these RAM upgrades using modern chips, which will make the upgrades a lot cheaper and easier to find because you won't be trying to hunt down chips that are getting to be quite rare at this point. Now, David, you sent me a link. Where did you send it to me? Here in
both Facebook and Zoom.
Okay.
Bro.
Stop sharing there. Switch. Yes. Share. Okay, I'll let you narrate it as it's doing it here if you want to kind of explain what's going on.
Well, the top left is normal speed. The top middle is the 2x high-speed poke on the CoCo 3. And of course, the top right is the one with basic being patched for its timing and the double speed poke. And then, of course, the bottom three are with the different modes of the fast load.
That's the software compression plus the higher fidelity sound blaster card.
We have
waiting.
Yeah, so that software compression and the high fidelity really does help speed it up. That's a 26K load or 25K load, I think.
We're still waiting.
Yeah, it's quite a wait because I think it's like a couple minutes for it to load at normal speed.
Yeah, so the purely software still works on a real cassette without any software compression added. This is just straight patching basic and doing the double high speed poke on a CoCo 3 is done, loading 26K of data. The middle one's loading it at twice speed, just the double speed poke, and the upper left is just a regular 0.895 megahertz CoCo 1, 2, or 3.
I think the description I have the timings listed at what
do you? Okay.
I recorded them.
How does it compare to a disk load?
I never got into that part.
I mean, the fastest one is going to be.
Yeah, so this took 2.5 minutes roughly, or more actually. Almost 3 minutes to load at regular speed. Took 1.5 minutes at double speed. Took 44 seconds at the 4 times. So that's all running off real cassettes. And then we start getting into the software compression on the fly plus the high fidelity. At the maximum speed here, he's getting it done in 11 seconds. So 20 some odd K loaded in 11 seconds. So 2K per second. On the disk drive for the Marble Madness, which is a 13 granule file. How long does a 13 granule file normally take to load? That's got to be close to 10 seconds, isn't it?
Not sure.
I can't really tell if I run an SCC because the SCC runs it a bit faster than the older drives would have done. Right. How many drives in there by to try? But yeah, it's kind of interesting that Dave, you and Karen are kind of experimenting with these fast load things because, like I said, that's not something we really saw too much in the CoCo because ours was pretty fast to begin with compared to other 8-bit machines of the era, so we didn't really feel the need.
Well,
and plus in North America, everybody went to disk drives pretty quick anyway. But
Right.
Yeah, well, especially with today's technology and, finding cassettes is a pain in the butt anyway. I figure even if you just have the cassette port, if you could have like your cell phone with pre-done WAV files that are already in there, CD player with the pre-made fast loader done for you. There's ways that you could still improve it because almost everybody has a cell phone. I don't know how many people would still have a CD player around or a old
or a
CD player
one.
Walkman. So there's electronic options to still feed stuff through the cassette.
Yeah.
But it is helpful for some of the machines, like if you could get some of these software compression routines to work on, say, the Alice or the MC10, because their entire software library was based on cassette. They didn't have disk drive, period, back in the day. So it'd be kind of interesting having some of those, optimized with these software compressor routines, especially with the MCX boards, either 32 or the 128, where you have the extra RAM to fit the decompressor. And you could load in some of these games, like 4 to 8, 10 times faster than you're used to. That would be pretty impressive. Or you can just get the SD card solution, of course. Anyway, that's all the news we had this week. So,
but there is some magic loading stuff with C-Load. It definitely takes me back. I like doing it.
Well, to tell you the truth, back in the days when I first got the CoCo, when my parents gave it to me for Christmas, they gave me 2 of the children's network games. One was Taxi. The other one was, unfortunately, Big Bird Special Delivery. But the loading screen, I, for some reason, like listening to the loading screen for Big Bird Special Delivery off of cassette. Yes, I know I'm weird.
Yeah. Do you remember it? Can you recreate it?
Time to play it sometime. Yes.
I want to mention, you brought up loader screens. So one thing that Karen mentions about his cassette utilities, you can actually have it, like I mentioned before, you can jump between addresses, but you can actually have it set video modes. So you can have these little auto loaders that are built in. So actually we'll kick it into P mode 3 and draw a full graphical load screen, and then proceed to load the actual game. And so it does support that.
Yeah. Didn't Minotaur do that, I think?
Well, there was 2 versions. There was the text loader, like Sugar Software sold, what the heck was it called? Auto loader, I think, or something like that. That basically let you do a 32 by 16 or the semi-graphic screen, like basically the text screen, which would load in pretty quick. But these other ones actually had to, load in, change the graphics mode on the VDG to a P mode 3 or P mode 4, whatever it was, and then switch back to the loading part and continue on automatically. So those were a little bit more complex, not terribly so. But and you were mentioning too, David, about recognizing, or not recognizing, but liking the sound of the Big Bird loader. I do remember the standard 4-voice music routine that almost everybody used for that organy music that we're so used to on the CoCo. I got to recognize that routine. So if I was loading a game I'd never seen before in my life, and I was playing with the audio on my cassette, if I heard that certain sequence in the sound, I'd go, oh, this game's gonna have music. Didn't even have to see, run it first, because you could just recognize that same routine every time. It's in Donkey King, it's in Sailor Man, it's in Mark Data Products games, etc. It was pretty strange. So I guess I'm weird too.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. Do we have any project updates?
Well, I cheated and showed mine through Ken's video earlier, so mine's done already. Go get it on Facebook. Go get it on Discord. Anybody else?
I wanted to show off my new camcorder here, 14x zoom, and
just wait there, Rick. He's got to zoom you up here so we can see it.
Oh,
there you go. There you go.
So I wanted to show off my new 14x zoom. Should be David Ladd approved.
Ooh.
Camcorder.
Oh, yeah.
What you got back there, buddy?
Did you have a fast loader for that?
If you have a really fast floppy drive. Oh, more of them. I ended up with a butt ton of Mavicus. So I have all kinds of floppy drive.
You know what? We might be able to change the interleaf on those floppies to make it so it can write faster when you're taking photos.
Yeah, they're only 2x now. So yeah, 4x would be good. This And this thing does MPEG movies, so ooh.
Like original MPEG 1.
So what did it set you back for that one?
I think $20 for the box full of Mavicas here.
Oh, really? The ones back there too?
Yeah, I just don't have info lithium in the bunch to test them with, but could be fun. I'm a sucker for old crap.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Do you have kids?
That's what I mentioned.
Yeah,
660 in the chat here mentioned, I haven't actually heard this yet. Stuart Orchard, of course, we've had him on for doing some of the games that he did back in the day, and he did that excellent Return of the Beast program for the Cocos and Dragons too, which has multi-voice digital effects, all kinds of stuff, and theme song. He said Stuart made a loader for Shock Trooper that played 3-part music while the game was loading off cassette using a hacked up version of Simon Jonason's player. I'd love to see it. I'll hear that, I guess, where it's actually loading off cassette and you actually
that would be cool. Music. You probably couldn't do a voice while it was loading, could you?
Well, if you can play a 3-voice music player, you might be able to.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Have it talk to you, get ready. This is going to be great, as it's loading.
Of course, it slows your loading time down. That's the one problem. But
that would be cool.
You could do it like the Disney Space Probe game where it switches between loading a little bit of code, playing some voice, loading some more code, playing the voice.
Right.
Yeah, this sounds like it actually plays while it's loading. It doesn't have to switch back and forth. It runs a machine language routine as part of the loading program.
I was talking about for Ron's voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That would be cool to have our show start with one of those going.
Right, 60 just sent me a message. Where did it show up? Not here. It's going to be in.
Didn't Blockdown have a loader screen? Or doesn't it have a loader screen and then it keeps loading?
Sorry, what was that, Pedro?
I thought Blockdown had a loader screen. So it loaded a screen and then kept loading the game.
Yeah, there was a few that did. The Dragon had a lot more of the high-res ones. I noticed that was very popular on their cassettes. So like a lot of the microdeal would load the microdeal with the little microdeal kid with the glasses as part of the load screen. Ours, if we had them, was usually text ones like Madness, the Minotaur, Keys of the Wizard, Viking, and a bunch of others there. They had the text screen where you draw the 64 by 32 8-color chunky graphics, but you get some sort of a loader screen for it. Now, Karen just posted me a link here. It's in the Discord, where he's actually got Stuart's version of Shock Trooper with the music that plays in the background while loading it. Now, I don't have cassette stuff here, so I can't do that. He says, I keep posting that to people. Nobody ever actually tries loading it. Well, he posted it to me privately, so nobody else can see it. So that's probably why, Kieran. So, Kieran, if you can post that into one of the public places on Discord so everybody can see it.
Heck, make a video.
Yeah, I'd love to see that actually running. Like, I don't know if they even have a working cassette.
I could fire up MAME and load it through its cassette emulation and make a video and post it.
Do it.
Well, I need the file. Hello.
You need a cassette player like this.
Okay. Send it to me. Bring it over. There you go. You just volunteered to send it to me.
And then an MPEG player and a CoCo cassette cable works fine.
Yeah, but it's easier for me to use MAME's AVI right.
I'm going to put it in the general game post. I'll post the link in Discord. There you go. You want to grab that, David? You have it.
And 60 says he's done it in public several times.
I've never seen it. You mean like a Dragon meetup or something?
I hope so.
Right. Never mind.
Anyway, I would like to actually, David, if you can record that for next week, that'd be awesome because I've never seen or heard it, and I don't even know if I have the hardware here to do it. I mean, I can do it in MAME, but I would want to do it on the real thing.
No problem.
Because that would be one of the most involved loading sequences I would have seen on a CoCo or Dragon at that point. I've seen some that do load the high-res screens. I've even seen some that have loaded, different chunks of the screen at different times while they're loading, or even changed some of the scenes. while it's loading. It'll load one scene, they'll load a different scene over top of it as it gets further on. Some of them have, multi screens of instructions with graphics showing you the different play elements and stuff. I've seen that. But playing 3-voice music simultaneously while it's loading, no, I haven't seen that before. Anybody else have any project updates and or acquisitions?
Okay, I want to show my web page, my page.
Okay. You want to zoom them up there, Mark?
Yep. Okay. Let's see. Hang on.
Oh, he's going to share a screen.
Yeah, I'm going to share screen.
He might talk in between.
Ron's Garage. Yay. I changed my banner. Anyway, today is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. I don't know if you knew that. I fired up my DS69 and did some new scans.
Now that's a video digitizer for those that don't know, that was sold commercially.
It's right
back
here
in the 80s for the CoCo 1, 2, and 3.
Yep. And these are different. They give you a different. What do you call it when you digitize? You can change the dither. That's one dither, and there's another dither, I guess.
Now, are you running the CoCo 3 version here, or is that the CoCo 1 and 2 one?
This is the 3 version.
Okay.
It lets you do it. This is my grandson. It turned out pretty cool. Yeah. And the Dodge Challenger and Beetles. I thought it was cool to fire it up again and see if I can get some stuff going. It's a black and white, although in the Max files you can get a little color, like this one here. This is how, when you adjust it, you can adjust it to. Then you have different levels of. This is what's on what I did. Made those files from blank, and then I did some high color stuff. And
Ron, before you go on further, talking about the digitizer, did you ever get a RAS scan like the one that Nick did?
Never. No, but I did see it work. Back in Toledo, Ohio, my friend had one, and it was darn good. It was nice.
There you go. A plug for you, Nick.
I can't explain it much. Here's
buy now. Not
the big game Sunday. You guys got to pick which team you want. So I put those up. I also came across this in my collection, the CoCo 3 holiday demo. And
floppy disk.
This is right from Radio Shack, evidently, from a friend I had or something, gave it to me.
Yeah, it's actually got the date of the master too, October 24th, 1986, which I'd not seen before.
And this is a flippy. It does, it's been right protected. And it
works. That's right, because when you actually run the demo, it'll say flip the disk and insert and hit a key or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. As soon as you see this, you remember. Oh yeah, I've seen that hundreds of times, right? And then back in the day, I made a whole bunch of these. Back in the day, you can get your printer and put a bunch of those, stick 'em things, and make your own labels. Is what I did in color. And back then, having color printed at home was, pretty cool. And so I'd use those for labels on my stuff. That's about it. I had, I found a picture of my black CoCo, so I put that up, and then I told Terry Stegedy, will you show yours again? And he put his up again.
I like your monitor.
I put some pictures up of John Lennon. And John Lennon back in the day in the 90s when I scanned it. So that's about it, guys. I constantly doing crap and putting it up every month, every day. And if you ever got time and you got nothing to do, download some of the pictures, because in my file section, I have tons of stuff. Pictures that I've taken over.
And these are mostly high color, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, mostly.
Or CoCo VGA.
And CoCo VGA files, yeah. So there you go. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, because if people want to see what a CoCo 3 or a CoCo VGA is capable color-wise for digitized pictures, Ron's got a ton of examples. In fact, he's got the same picture done on both formats. You can see 16 color graphics on a CoCo 1 and 2, or even an MC10 now, I guess. And you've also got the high color, which is Sockmaster's thing, which does pixel interpolation and screen flips while changing palettes on the fly, every scan line, etc. Basically to give you thousands of colors at once on the screen.
Pretty neat.
Anybody else have any updates or acquisitions?
I just want to remind everybody that registration for CoCo Fest has opened up. So if you are a vendor and would like to get a table, now's the time to do it. We already had 24 tables registered. So, and that's within the first week. So that's a pretty good showing. So even if you're not a vendor, we still encourage you to register online. So therefore we can have your badge ready and hopefully not have any long lines at the door like we've had in years past. So, but that's it.
Cool. Now, have you guys got seminars lined up yet, or a schedule that's coming out, or are you guys still approaching people for that?
Well, yeah, we're still waiting for everybody that wants to give speeches. We'll probably put the schedule out probably in, let's say, probably April. We'll get everything finalized and everything like that.
And for those not familiar, when is the fest again, and where is it?
It is in Chicago, Elk Grove, Illinois, and it's May 14th and 15th.
Be there, be square.
CoCo All you have to do is look in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, and there's a blob right there. You guys on Zoom don't see it.
Oh, okay.
Be there, be square, in the shadow of O'Hare.
Actually, it was a good time last year, so hopefully our Canadian friends can make it over this year.
Exactly.
We're planning on it.
If the trucks will get out of the way, right?
Hopefully they got that figured out by then. If not, they're in trouble.
Well, you guys will be too, because there's a bunch of stuff that goes back and forth that's getting blocked.
Right.
I like my tomatoes.
Yeah. Look at that maple syrup you won't have for breakfast for pancakes.
General Motors.
We just get it from China.
All right.
Anyone else?
Right. I have some.
Okay.
Go ahead, Pedro.
Want to talk about the USB keyboard adapter.
Oh, an update. Cool.
There's an update. I just wanted to show a little bit of how it's working. And I'll just go, I know we might be short on time, so I'll just go straight into sharing my screen.
No, actually, we got plenty of time.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Actually, while you're doing that, I'll just mention Terry Steggy's actually in the chat here. So sorry I couldn't attend. A great show, guys. Now, Terry, when are you getting the inside of your fancy TDP there video done? We all are clamoring to see it. So get on it.
It's not done yet.
Yeah, I was about to say. What do you got on your chair there, Pedro?
That is a cell phone. The little hole. That's what I'm going to show it off with. But you know what? I lost my Zoom screen. I don't even see you guys anymore.
Well, we're here. Hello.
We're here.
Yeah, it's obviously running because we can hear and see you.
Weird. Okay, there it is. All right. Let me see if I can share my screen now. Okay, so you share. Oh no, it says it will stop other participants' sound share. Somebody's sharing sound.
Oh. Yep. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So, well, I don't know what to share here. Let's see. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. You see the CoCo there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now I want to try. I'm using two cameras here, and this one doesn't work, or two phones. This one doesn't work all that well, but I'm gonna try and share it anyhow. Let's see. Connect. All right. Okay. And VLC should show it. All right. You see two?
Yep. Yes. I can see your PC keyboard, Dell on the right, and the CoCo on the left.
There's lag there, but I mean, you get the picture. So this is a USB keyboard. It's plugged into a USB shield. It's a USB host shield for the Arduino. And then it is wired into matrix chip or the crosspoint chip. And it just, it was very easy to set up, with this shield. And it's pretty responsive.
No smoke.
No smoke. Thank God. But there's still time. It's still being developed.
Still time.
There's a live demo going on. It'll happen now.
Yeah, all right. It's part of the show. 4th of July early. I have nothing there in RAM, nothing in memory, but you can see it's kind of laggy right now because I just put something in the code to show something up. Maybe I should get rid of that real fast. This is live coding. So this is the actual Arduino code. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
And
also, I should mention, it looks like you're running one of your replacement motherboards in that CoCo.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I don't want to fry an original.
Yeah, eat your own dog food.
What was that?
Eat your own dog food.
Yeah. Okay, let me upload this real fast so it's not as laggy. So what I'm doing is I was just spitting characters back through the serial port. And that's why it's kind of laggy. And you might see now in here, when it recognizes the keyboard, the lights will flash. Did it do it already? Okay, well, there you go. Okay, so now it's really snappy. It's responsive. You know, you can see that. I did a couple of things like, you know, for example, you see where you have, you know, the minus sign coming up. You have to have shift to get the equal sign, or you get asterisks over here. You have to have shift. Well, you can have, I'm using the number keypad over here to go directly, plus sign directly, this sort of stuff, you know.
So you had to program all that?
All that's programmed in there. And so one of the goals is to make this hackable. So I want to have it so you can just plug it into the computer. It shows up, you know, as a serial port, and you can just use the Arduino development environment, you know, to go ahead and, you know, do whatever the heck you want to it, to improve it, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And it seems to be working well. You know, I was trying to break it last night and the night before, and I can't do it.
Cool.
Well, I found one way to break it, but you know, it works. It, you know, you can match the keyboard. It, you know, it understands everything.
I got a dumb question. Doesn't seem to be any way to plug in a ROM pack into the motherboard.
Oh, you can. What do you mean?
Yeah, the socket's
He
empty
hasn't
right now.
put the connector on yet.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. I get distracted.
Squirrel. Yeah. That's pretty much the update. Now, I don't know yet how I'm going to design the board. I don't know what I want to do. If I want to make something that sits under the keyboard and then wires into here, or a little board that sits there. But at the moment, anyhow, there's a shortage of certain chips that I would need. So, you know, there's time, because I can't really get the chips I want right now to make it.
All right, Pedro, if I got one of these mechanical keyboards with all the light show on it, would that work with it?
Is it a USB keyboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should. If it talks an HID,
Okay.
it'll
I
work.
do like your choice for the most generic USB keyboard possible.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
There must be a billion of those.
Absolutely.
I got a
Whatever's
couple of them in
cheaper
my
is what I'm-
closet. I have a new in box one.
You have a new one. I don't think I've ever seen
Yeah.
them. I usually pull them out of the trash and start using them.
Yeah.
They're
They
everywhere.
pull them out of the trash, new in box.
Yeah.
Kevin Holloway has a question which we kind of touched on last week, but I figure you might as well repeat it. He's asking, is it hot pluggable? And also, I will just append to that, do both keyboards work at once? If you want to answer that.
Yep. You can do it.
Woohoo.
And you can hot swap a keyboard, like both USB
yeah.
and PS2, which is a bit unique to this design.
Let me see. I think I have one right here. So I don't know if you see this keyboard.
Yeah.
Okay. And here's the connector for it. Okay. Now please work live.
Comes the smoke, folks.
Okay, that's the touchpad.
That is the coolest thing to say.
Will the mouse work?
Let's see. So here's the adapter I'm going to be using. Right. The USB to PS2. Let's see. And you know, on a regular computer, this wouldn't work, right? This you'd have to reboot the computer to use if you unplug and plug in.
Yeah, swap a PS2. Yeah.
But it has worked here this way. So it's plugged in, and there you go.
Yay!
It worked.
So you're already more advanced than a PC, a PS2 based.
It's more advanced than a PC. Wow, for sure. Gonna give it a run for its money. And you know, it so far I'm happy with the results. Another cool thing is right now it shows up as a serial port on the computer, right? And so actually let me do this here. This is a terminal program I have. And let me open the port. Right now, the way it's set up, since I opened the port, it's going to reset the board.
Is that an Arduino?
Yep. But I can also, you know, type from here, from my computer. So right now I'm typing on this terminal program here, which is, you know, there's no echo I don't have echo on. I wonder if I can turn echo on here. Oh, maybe I could. I don't know.
Full duplex, half
Local
duplex.
echo.
might be able-
Local echo under configuration.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so you'll see I have no, I can just type away, right?
Slide your terminal window over a bit.
No, you're back there.
You see it?
The other direction.
Yeah, we want to see both CoCo and
There you go.
There we go.
Oh, I see what you're saying. And I can even break from here. I can do, I think, all the printable ASCII characters just fine through the terminal. So I guess you can do three keyboards at once.
Oh, I like that. I want one now.
Okay, 3-player game now.
Exactly.
Oh no, I'm thinking other things.
Actually, that would work because one problem of doing multiplayer on one keyboard, especially the CoCo keyboard, is too small. You get cramped.
Yeah.
But if you each have separate keyboards and you can redefine keys, for example, so you do WASZ and redefine it as arrow keys on my particular keyboard that's hooked up to it, you could actually, have them spread out and play properly.
You can
Yeah, but how many keys can the CoCo understand at once?
Well, no. So if
when we played Dungeons, you could play 2 players on the same keyboard at the same time.
And Gauntlet 2 does as well, which is at least 3 or 4 keys simultaneously. I mean, technically, the PIA should be able to read row. I mean, there's some electrical issues there, but I mean, technically, it could do every key at once.
It's 8.
Yeah.
It's 8.
Yeah, because of the way the matrix pulls the rows and the columns.
Yeah, because it could create
Oh, so
problems
you
as
get-
little as 3.
Yeah, you get blocking moves and so forth from the.
You have to pick your keys carefully. I do remember that, but
Multiplayer Wordle.
But since you can redefine the keys for each of the keyboards, so that what are nice, easy to use keys for a particular game on a full size keyboard is remapping to specific ones that CoCo game needs that work properly within the matrix, it would still be quite playable, I would think.
And you could mess with the other players and make their character move into the line of fire or something.
Cheat mode.
So if I got a multi-pack with 16 slots and I got 3 keyboards, what kind of a table am I going to need?
A big one.
Yeah.
Just get wireless keyboards and you can just put them in your lap there, Ron. Just stack them up.
Well, you have a good point, because in the USB world, I remember there was a keyboard that logged itself in as like 60 keyboards in Windows so that their multiple key presses would register correctly. But you don't really have that problem here because you've got one USB keyboard and some other keyboard, and
and
the CoCo keyboard
and a serial input. Yeah.
But there's still no clock.
There's no clock yet.
Arduino's got a clock.
I wanted to throw that in there, but it's just too much.
And Arduino does have a clock.
It does. No, you can do.
It's
You
there.
can do a real-time clock with the Arduino. And
We
then
just have to program it, right?
you could send it serially through the keyboard matrix if you wanted to. So that's why I think I asked you a couple days ago. If it's something that could be input through the PIA.
So you could do a control key and have the time come up.
Well, I don't know how you would query.
Yeah,
it.
we have to figure out a way to get it to interface so that you can use it as both a clock driver per se, but maybe you can also hit some hot key sequence and disk basic and it'll just print the timeout or something.
Here's a clock for you.
On a disto controller, you hit clock on and it comes up in the top corner.
Now, is that under OS 9 only, or is that under disk basic too?
Disk basic only.
It was the disk.
Oh, part of the CDOS ROM or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Curtis, I sent you another link.
Oh boy.
Okay, well, before you get to that, Kevin Holloway had some other questions here. He was asking if it also would work with XT and AT keyboards, and I figure as long as you have a USB adapter for those, it should.
I think, as long as you have an adapter, it should. As long as the adapter speaks HID, that protocol, it should work. So, there's having a USB option opens up a whole lot of possibilities. And I'm doing this for several reasons, but So the initial reason I wanted to do this was because it's one of the goals on that CoCo++ board that I'm making. And
so can you charge your phone on your CoCo?
Now you can.
Wow.
Now you can.
Not really recommended, but you can.
It's going to be in slow mode, right?
It's going to be in slow mode. What else? Oh, macros. So
that was something I was asking about last time.
I could run there. I have F5 just says run. F6 if you want to list it, whatever. You can put in whatever you want. And so this was hard coded, but the idea later on is to be able to do it to the keyboard. And
do you have any idea what the limit will be as to how big your strings can be?
It's going to be the limit, how much flash you have on the Arduino. So in theory, if I do it with another chip that has, more space, you can increase that. Or if there's an SD card, that's put in, you can have it pull from the SD card. So there are ways to increase it. A micro SD card.
Okay. The reason we're asking is like I know we've had some other AT keyboard adapters, XT keyboard adapters have done the same type of thing, but they usually had a fairly small limit back in the day in the 90s to how big your strings could be. But I could see setting up, like if I'm doing several, bigger ML projects and it's not at the same time, I could actually have it run the assembler, output a generated listing, and then immediately run the program all in one big long, 200 or 200 character sequence or something like that, and define a function key for each of the projects I'm going on. So if I'm working on CoCoTAL and then I'm working on Liberation, I'm working on a Nitrous 9 drive or whatever, I could just hit whatever one I have to be working on, instead of type the whole thing in or making a batch file.
Oh, I think a 200 key sequence is more than doable. So in fact, the tables that I'm using to translate all this stuff, they're way bigger. One's 256 bytes. The other one is, well, I don't know how big, but they're bigger. And I think as long as you make them like a constant byte, it goes straight to flash. Isn't even loaded in RAM, I think, something like that, on the Arduino. Now, there are tricks to do that sort of stuff. So I think you can get away with 200 easy.
Yeah, I mean that's pushing probably past what I would normally need.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet. And to add stuff, maybe, who knows, maybe you would be okay with hard coding that sort of stuff. I don't know. Although it is nice to do it from your keyboard. Maybe display it on the CoCo as you're typing it, so you can see what you're doing.
So this is a CoCoDuino.
CoCoDuino.
Although there already is a CoCoDuino, isn't there? Wasn't it just it runs an emulator or something?
I don't know. An Arduino that runs a CoCo emulator?
Yeah, I seem to recall hearing about that a year or two already or something. Not it wouldn't be like this. It's just basically emulating a CoCo on a higher end Arduino.
Every combination of Arduino has been done, so you're going to have to be specific in your naming.
Yeah.
Just life. Yeah.
So Terry Sticky had a question for you. He said, Pedro, that is very cool. When are you going to sell them? And I think that's related to parts shortages and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's related to parts shortages. So, one of the options that, something that I could start selling rather quickly is, so the heart of the whole thing is the Max 3421, I think it is, which is the USB host chip. And it's like, zero available, local sort of domestic, parts places. Abroad, I think I found a couple, eBay for sure, but they're expensive.
Well, what's expensive?
On eBay, they're like $20 each, I think, almost, from what I saw. Whereas if you can get them locally, they're like $8.
Oh,
or domestic, it's around there. The chip is a pretty pricey chip, but I mean, it does a lot, but there are a bunch of boards that have been made with that chip. And so there is a board that's made for the Arduino Nano, which is a smaller form factor. Let me see if I can have it right here. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see this guy there. Well, actually, let me put it down here. That might be better. Maybe not. I don't know. My feed died. But anyways, it's a small Arduino Nano, and there's a board made for this Arduino that with another board, and that small board is a USB host shield board, rather, it has that chip. So I can make a stackable solution like this. It'd be small with just one custom board and sell that. and you wouldn't even have to buy the Arduino Nano or the Shield. You can get those on your own if you wanted to. But that's something I can start doing pretty quickly, and it would work instead of just one whole big custom board that just had all of that stuff in it.
Okay, so for the impatient ones of us, there's an alternative.
Yeah. So yeah, there's an option, and I might do it. I might do it just to have something out quickly. And again, I plan on making this all open source, so that anybody can have it and build it themselves and hack away at it and improve it.
You can hand wire it like 8-bits in the basement. Then
I can hand wire like 8-bits in the basement. I can do that. I have done those sorts of things in the past, and the first couple of times it's exciting, it's fun. Like you said, it's great. You don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
I don't anymore.
Yeah. I had to once. I had to wire a 486. I mean, not with everything, not with with the controllers and all that, but that was like took me like 2 weeks to do, of like 4 or 5 hours a day of wiring stuff. I don't want to do that again. Didn't work.
You had long hair then, right?
I had longer hair. Was not getting haircuts. Couldn't afford haircuts.
Cool. Well, thanks for the update, and definitely keep us posted, especially if the chip shortage probably starts to get fixed.
Let me stop this shit.
Could you do the same thing with a Pi W? What do they call it? 0W?
Well, Pi. So I think Mr. Dave 6309, Dave Erie, he's done that already, but he's done it with a regular Pi.
Okay.
He has a keyboard adapter with a Pi.
You just decide what controller you want to work with, and
so that's a full-blown computer.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little easier because you have a whole operating system to handle everything.
Okay.
And you can do a lot more. You could even, you could interface to a Pi the way he has. You can take advantage of, things like, onboard Ethernet.
Video. Yeah.
Yeah. That sort of stuff.
With these little Arduinos, this is almost a chip you could throw on a board.
Yeah, it is. That's what it is. And, so I think that at least for what I have in mind, the Arduino is the way for me to, is the way I want to do it. I want to make it, easily accessible, shareable, hackable, and,
you're making a peripheral versus adding a whole second computer to the mix.
Yeah. Yeah. Although, both ways are fine.
Yeah. Cool. Definitely keep us posted there, because that's I think it's got the interest of multiple people. I mean, even Nick might write a game requiring keyboard controllers.
Will it have cheat mode?
We just call that Nick mode now.
Nick mode.
After watching his Game On challenge scores. As far as project updates go, I got one here from Fred Provancha in the chat. Actually, he said he's working on the control version 3 for G Shell EOU, and he said it's progressing nicely. So I haven't actually seen it in the last while, so I'm not sure exactly how far he's gone, but I did see some earlier ones, and it does look pretty good. It's been definitely spicing it up and making it look more modern. So I wanted to mention that.
I think a really nice control program would be a great addition to OS 9.
Yeah, I mean, the one he did for the Beta 6 is actually a pretty big improvement on its own, but he's definitely taking it a whole step up again.
I actually have a update.
Oh, good. So
it's about a month old, though. Everyone's familiar with what this is?
It's a CoCo 3.
The collection of wires.
It's CoCo 3 with a Mr. Dave 6309 keyboard in it.
Is it a USB powered CoCo 3?
No, actually, it is a Pepper powered.
Oh, that's the Pepper board. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
Powered.
What's that?
That is the board from the great Pedro Pena.
There it is. I see it.
To replace the salt.
Okay.
And that controls your sound, your joysticks, your cassettes.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, where's your power?
Well, that one doesn't do the sound. But it does.
Oh, doesn't?
It actually uses a wall board that's.
Oh, okay.
It uses 12 volts input.
There you go.
But there's something else special about this.
Is it like from a cell phone or something?
Actually, it's for a.
Like how many?
It's a 1.5 amp.
Yeah, amps.
12 volt, 1.5 amp.
That's all you need.
Yeah, it's for
a lot less actually. You need.
Yeah.
So like when you got your CoCo on, you're not going to see a low voltage thing show up in the corner of your screen.
No.
It's making what, 5 volts and 8 volts or something like that. So if you've got 12, you're good.
Oh
yeah. There's also something else special about this CoCo 3.
Well, you got a RAM upgrade I don't recognize.
And I'll give you a hint. It's not the drive wirelessly or the internal drive wire board.
Oh, that's what I was going to guess.
Nope, it's the, as Mark called it, it's the RAM.
Oh, okay.
This is the only 512K RAM upgrade in North America of this type. This is the one that was made by Kieran of XROAR fame.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, yeah.
All right. Nice.
Yeah, because he only had 5 prototype boards made when he made his, right?
Yes. So.
What number is that one?
5.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
You know that for sure.
Well, I mean, he used what? He used 1 or 2 and then sold 2, and then this sold the 3rd one to me.
Did he put any lights on it?
Did he what?
Did he put any lights on it? LEDs?
Not that I've seen.
No.
Yeah, I think only the boomerang. The boomerang had that E2.
Yeah, but it works quite well. I've had no problems with it.
Nice.
You know, the way he laid out the chips, at least, you know, when you pulled it back, to me, it looked like an alligator, like chomping. Like, it's a gator board.
So
I would call it.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Sloopy. I'd actually never seen Karen's board. I know we talked about it on the show and stuff there. I've kind of forgotten that you actually gotten the only American copy of it. So
Well, what's with the keyboard on that machine?
What's Mr. Dave's?
Mr. Dave's.
Oh, okay.
Replacement keyboard.
Why no keys on it?
Why no keycaps?
Yeah.
Because I told Mr. Dave that if he didn't send me one, I would send him one of my children. And so he sent me that to keep my children in the U.S. And so I agreed.
Okay,
that,
it's personal problems. We don't care about.
I'll let the keycap slide. No, I just haven't ordered any. I've been, as you know, I haven't been doing too well, so I just haven't gotten around to ordering them.
Well, we'll pray for you.
Thank you.
Okay, now Fred Provence has actually showed up here to guest for a little bit to actually show us the new control program version 3. So if you want to take it away there, Fred.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
Yay, something interesting.
Yeah. So hopefully this will be interesting. We'll see. So let's see. I guess it's okay if I share my screen.
Yes.
All right. Let's see here.
Do you have the space station up there?
Yeah, that's a Lego model space station. That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Huh?
Right.
It doesn't have a garbage can.
Nope.
Oh, he's in the control panel. That's why.
Yeah. Actually, let me jump out of the control panel and 1 second here.
Is this a Mac?
No, it's not.
Oh, it must be an Atari ST then.
Just hit clear.
1 second here. Okay. All right. So first, I have to shut it down in order to restart it. So remember, it's still in
Work in
progress.
progress.
So, yeah, work in progress.
Looks like the latest VCC.
Yeah. Okay. So here's
that's better.
Here's G Shell. Okay. So it's yeah, that should look familiar now. Okay, so here's G Shell. You go into the Tandy menu, you select control, and
bam.
You know, there's a new control program. So there's different tabs on the side. okay, for different subjects, I guess, different categories of settings. And you can, jump around between different tabs. And so now I think the last time I gave a progress report, you couldn't actually change anything. You could just go around and jump to different tabs, but you couldn't really do anything besides that. But now you can. You can, change the window size. You can change the colors of the screen. Okay.
Ooh.
Now, one of the features that I introduced in the last version of Control was presets. The ability to choose from a list of different preset standard palettes. Okay, so you can change the colors to a different motif or scheme on the fly. So I'm going to show you that. I've implemented that on this version too. So like, for example, you bring up a list of all these different presets and say I want a red motif. Boom.
Oh,
everything's red.
Nice.
Okay. Or if you go into, and then you want orange. Boom, you've got orange.
Yeah.
Okay. Green. We've got a whole bunch of them here. And you can change them around if you like. You can edit them. Okay. And you can create new presets.
Looks like a firecracker.
Yeah. You can create new presets by clicking add or delete. You can delete some of these if you want and make room for more. There's a maximum of 20 presets you can have. There's only like, 12 on here right now. But anyway.
What's the standard PAL?
The standard PAL?
palette.
Oh, standard PAL.
Should we grayscale, I'm guessing? Or?
That's this.
Oh, no, that's a standard built-in old low sign level 2.
Yeah, black, red, blue, white,
Okay.
Let's go back actually, because this is kind of bugging me.
What's the gray? Is the gray the original or the
gray? Gray is, I think, the one that
okay.
was
that's the default we made way back when.
Default
that makes
we
the
made
garbage
for
can
last
stand out.
Yeah, that's right. Now, personally, I like this one. Blue steel is my favorite. But anyway, now, so that's G Shell tab. Over here in the display tab, you can change the palette for the systems palette, whereas we were just toying with the palette for G Shell itself. Okay, so you can change the system palette very similarly, except
If
you've
you
got
change
16.
if you change the
16
system palette, does that change the G Shell colors?
No, it shouldn't. No. But when you're inside of Control, it changes what's currently on the screen. But when you go back, it reverts back. See, because now this is showing G Shell's palette, and the display tab shows the systems palette. Okay.
Yeah, and the system palette, like basically when you boot up OS 9 level 2 or Nitrous 9, it has a default palette for everything. And some older games and programs depend on you not having changed those. So this is one way you can actually do that. Or if you didn't like the ones originally there, you can change them so that games like Klondike Solitaire and stuff like that will play with decent colors rather than forcing it all to grayscale or whatever, selection you have for a preset.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes. So so that way, when you're changing the system palette so that you can run a certain game that needs a certain palette, it won't change G Shell's palette. So G Shell still stays the same color scheme that it was before.
Yeah, that was something we added in Nitrous 9 because we had a lot of complaints in the early days when we first did it, that it would change the G Shell palette too. And sometimes a game wanted such a honky, terrible palette that G Shell just about became unreadable. It might be like black text on a dark blue background or something silly like that, so that this was a way to get around it so that they are kept separate.
And Curtis, you did that a while ago, right? Like 20
that
years
was like
ago or so,
97, 98 or something.
So it's been a change that has been in there for a while now. Let's see, mouse settings. You can change the mouse settings, low res, high res, left port, right port. Second button equals clear. So I think by default, what's the default in EOU right now? If
I think we have it defaulting to off because I have some plans for G Shell to use a second button. So if it just went and cleared to the next window every time you hit it, those wouldn't work.
Yeah. So you can toggle back and forth in here for that too. Keyboard settings, key click. I like it off myself. I'm not a fan.
I think most people do. We just defaulted it on one window so people could try it. It's meant more for adventure games or maybe a text editor or something.
Yeah.
So you get some feedback. But
so you can. Well, actually, this screen I'm still working on, so I don't think everything's fully working here. Anyway, then there's. Oh yeah, that's right. It's not. It hangs right now. Anyway, so I guess you kind of get the idea.
Well, how long before this is available?
I'm hoping to have it ready by the time the next version of EOU is distributed. So,
Wow.
Curtis, that's I guess target for that is what, by CoCo Fest or something?
yeah, that's what we're shooting for. Because I'm so busy with some other side projects and all kinds of other crap, it's probably not going to be as big of a release as I originally was planning, but there is some stuff already ready to go as updates.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm shooting for the May 14th, 15th.
Okay. Well, yeah, this should be done by then. So, yeah, hopefully that'll be in that next release. So, yeah, so far it's going pretty well. I would say I'm past the hardest part really, which was getting the palette changing routines to work properly and to work nice with each other. I would say it's all smooth sailing from here. The remaining tabs that I still have to work on, the window, printer, system, startup, those are all pretty easy. There's not too much complicated there.
Was the system going to tell you how much memory you have?
Ooh.
When
And
you
now we're
had term
talking
set.
feature creep here. I can put that in. Sure.
Yeah, system information.
Yeah, we need term set and term cap and
Yeah, I don't see a clock on the top corner.
Oh yeah, we need a clock. Yeah,
Well, clock will have to be in G Shell itself. That won't be Fred
that's
doing
right.
that. That'll be me.
Yeah.
All
right.
Curtis,
I
you
really
can
like
get
where
it done.
I do want. I really like where you're taking it. We need control to. We need one place to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because the one problem right now is that you have control for like some basic function, but then you had a separate one for setting disk drive device names, and you had a separate program that had to run to set the printer up, and you had a separate program to run the serial port setup, and he's combining it all into one.
Yeah.
So is that what system is for?
Yeah.
setting up?
Well, yeah, that's what. Yeah. Actually, I think the program just froze, so there's a bug I still need to squash. But anyway, yeah, system and startup are for the more advanced settings like data directory system.
So I
execution
could
directory and-
screw up my system if I'm in there playing around. I don't know.
You can do that now, Ron.
Yeah, but now you got to go to
Bonus,
a bunch of
you can
different
already do
places.
that.
Yeah. So yeah, like Curtis was saying, I mean, in most modern systems, right, you have a control panel, you have or you have a system settings app or tab or whatever that you can go to and change whatever system settings you want. Keyboards, mice, and so on. You're in Windows, you've got the settings thing where you can go and change all kinds of system settings. So this is designed to be something like that, where all system settings, you go to one app and you can change pretty much anything, so that in the future you won't have to go in and edit the environment file, okay, to change system settings like you do now. You have to go into sys/env.file in order to change stuff with a text editor or whatever. You shouldn't have to do that hardly ever anymore once control is done.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it all through the GUI right in G Shell. So
Yeah, exactly.
So does this modify the environment file as you make the changes?
Well, no, it only modifies the environment file when you exit the program. It'll prompt you if you want to save the changes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You can make them temporary changes for your current session, basically not save them. Like if you just wanted to fiddle with something, you were doing something special, you want a different palette, different settings for the serial port or whatever. And then if you do make permanent changes, you can save them as well. So you can do both.
It does change the operating environment of the system on the fly, but it won't make those changes permanent unless it saves it to the environment file. And it'll ask you if you want to do that when you go to try to exit the exit control.
So
in other words,
so you're screwing it up is only going to happen temporarily.
temporarily, yeah. If you screw it up so bad that you can't save your changes, you're good.
Yeah.
Then you just hit reset to reboot.
Yeah. Maybe exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I mean, you might have said this, but does it have like a return to like a default button?
Reboot.
No, but it will.
That's kind of like the abandon button in the original one, isn't it? Where you just say, get rid of all my changes, don't save them. So
yeah, I don't think that. Yeah, I am planning to do that. It hasn't been fully implemented yet, but yeah, you should be able to revert back to the way it was before. Yeah,
and you do kind of have a backup because the swap boot program actually has multiple copies of the environment file for each different type of boot you have, which you can have totally different settings on. So if you screwed up the local one you're running now, even if you saved it, you could theoretically go back and just copy the backup for the swap boot version of it over top to restore it. So you kind of could.
Well, I have 5 SD cards, so the chances of me screwing up them all.
I don't know, Ron. I've seen you work here. It's probably pretty good chances, I'm thinking.
But it is kind of nice to note that without complex buffers and so forth, you can just turn it off. I don't know what I've done. It's really gone off the path. I'm just going to turn it off and start over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I've restarted the program now. So let's see. System.
Yeah, there you go.
You change the execution and data directory, system priority, module CRC checking, Cisco text. These are some of the.
So the system
technical
priority, the
settings
higher the number, the lower the priority, or the lower the number, the
higher the number, the higher the priority. It'll take more CPU time for that process.
What's the top number?
255. Lowest number is 1.
Okay.
So yeah, these are some settings that were added to environment file recently by Curtis, and so I'm trying to include them in this next version. Startup, data direct. Oh wait. Oh,
I see a bug.
I found another bug. Yeah. Anyway, Windows X window size Y. This is for the text window, like the
term window when you boot. I think.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Terminal window. This is for the settings for that border color, foreground and background. Yeah, size and so on. So yeah, there you go. I'm open to suggestions for improvement, of course. Please let me know if there's something that.
Did you show us startup yet?
Startup.
He showed the
bug. I can't access it right now.
Yeah, you can't get there.
Okay.
Yeah,
some
where are all
reason
the
it's-
other?
yeah.
It's basically telling you you're already started up. You can't change that. Come on.
Yeah.
Windows could have all the windows.
So you could have one that would have my name on it, and it would be a simple mode.
Yeah. There's more feature creep for you there. Yeah.
No, you've done great. Thank you very much.
It looks good. I like the fact
This
you're
is a
combining
good-
all these separate programs. That the original control panel had 4 or 5 things it ran
Yeah.
depending on which part you selected. You're putting it all into one.
Yeah.
Did you put your name anywhere that you've done this?
Oh,
Did you
not
get
yet.
Credit?
Not yet. It's
yeah.
in the source code, but no, I might put like, I don't know.
We should have a splash that comes up.
You can do an about like Kent Myers and I did, where you
Yeah,
put
I
our
could have
initials,
a
the
little-
version number.
I could have a little about tab at the top.
There you go.
Click on and put some blurb in there. I probably will do that. Yeah.
Or load your an image, like your picture.
No.
Maybe an animated picture of your head mounted on an animated
Like
Sonic the
bobblehead.
Hedgehog or something like we saw earlier.
Trash can, just to discard changes.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll change the mouse cursor so it's a picture of Nick digitized. You can just drop him into the trash can. He's kind of like
probably
Oscar the
next
Grouch.
time when you show us these, what you've done, you should do it on a video so nobody can throw all this stuff at you.
Yeah, actually, I think I will make a YouTube video when I'm a little further along in the process. Showing how it works and stuff.
And then at the end, you say, "That's it, no more." Done.
I don't know. It's pretty well a never-ending thing from what I find.
In your case, it is.
Oh yeah. Now you've got to go meta and never mind.
Yeah.
Kevin Holloway says multi-keyboard settings.
Now, I do have one question for you, Fred. Is this thing auto adapt size wise if you're running this from an 80 column window, or does it just use half the window?
When you're in an 80 column screen, it takes up half the screen.
Okay.
So that's the way it's currently set up.
Which I think the original control program did too, if I remember.
Yeah, it did actually. I was toying with the idea of making a 80 column version where you have twice as many settings on the screen at once. But I was like, no, I don't need to do that. Just have it run in half the window is fine.
Yeah, because that way you can still see like some of the folders and stuff you're looking at underneath too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, just make it a folder or make it an overlay, and sometimes it takes the whole screen, and sometimes it takes a bit of it.
Yeah. I can even show you how that works. Let's see. So we can we're back in G Shell view. Oops, hold on. Okay, what's it doing? I have an idea. There we go. Okay, so here's the 80 column version of G Shell. And
so maybe we bring up a folder first so we can get something on the screen to
oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I can do that. Right, so there's G Shell. And let's see, you go into the Tandy menu and you start at control. You'll see it just takes up half the screen here.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, nice.
Yeah, you can change between RGB and color composite.
It's actually better. You see what's going on while you do it.
Yeah.
Try the Monday button.
The Monday monochrome.
Yeah.
Who has a monochrome monitor anymore? I don't know. Probably not too many, but
well, if you're trying to show stuff through a TV, you go to monochrome.
It's for backward compatibility. The original version had that, so
yeah. And if you're on composite, if you're trying to read 80 columns, actually, if you kill the color burst, which is what the monochrome mode does, it actually does make it a little bit easier to read.
Yeah, because the composite monochrome is handy when you're using one of the Apple II 80 column RGB or not RGB, the green screen.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay.
Very good. Anyway,
there's probably things that you realize as you go, like
that
particular one.
Yeah, I mean, as I'm going through as I'm working on it, I come up with new ideas, stuff to do. Yeah, it's just kind of organic that way.
Did we look at printer?
Printer.
Nothing there.
Causes the program to crash. But basically, right now, all it does is run the original G Shell Tandy menu version of the printer program. So there's no change there. But there's no way to close out.
So
it looks like the menu disappeared.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So oops. All right. Well, there goes VCC.
One way to do it.
Oh, you're running Windows 10.
Did you take that?
Yeah, it's on my laptop. It's a relatively new laptop. I got it a few months ago.
Did you take that picture?
Did I take that picture? Which picture?
The picture
astronomy.
Your background.
Comet.
Oh yeah, let me minimize this. I'll show you. Okay, so this is that comet that, what was it, Neowise, I think?
Yeah.
If I remember right, Neowise. Yeah, it was like a year or so ago, right in the middle of the pandemic. Hold on a sec, guys. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, is it gunshot?
I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, my son has a couple kids, a couple of friends over. Anyway, Comet Neowise. About a year and a half ago, it was a naked eye comet, and I took this picture, yeah, from my backyard.
Good job.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the better pictures I've taken, I think, with my astronomy equipment. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this one came out. It's really good. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. I've got other hobbies besides astronomy and the CoCo. I also rock collector. I've this curio next to me here. I've got.
Do you have the original pet rock?
No. I've got like geodes and crystals and.
Oh, neat.
We can't see them right now because you're sharing the.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a rock collector too, so that's another one of my hobbies.
Hard rock or soft rock?
Well, both.
Well, he's actually a headbanger.
Well, yeah. Now that you mention it, music is another interest of mine. I can play the trombone, and I like lots of different kinds of music actually. So I can also sing. So yeah. Anyway. I think I mentioned in a previous CoCoTALK episode that I've got like 10 different hobbies, and my time is kind of split up among all of them. And rock collecting, there's astronomy, there's the color computer, there's music, there's what else? I've got a fish tank. I've got I don't know,
kids.
Kids.
You've collected children, and you can't
apparently
collect.
because I got two neighbors.
That's the busiest hobby ever.
They won't let you collect wives.
Well, some societies do, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. one wife is more than enough.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to collect ex-wives.
I've got my hands full with one as it is.
Anyway, thanks for the update. I'm really pleased where that's going, and we'll keep you coming on for that.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted. Sure.
And I'll try not to surprise you with new features in G Shell. You suddenly have to add at the last minute.
Come on.
Oh well, you should, by all means, if you've got some new ideas.
I've got lots of new ideas. I just don't know if I'll have time to do them before the next release.
Yeah. Well, by all means, go at it. Just don't make any changes to the environment file.
Bill and I have a whole document of stuff we want to add to G Shell yet. So
yeah. Cool.
Then some of it involves the right mouse button, just to warn you.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that actually, because G Shell could definitely I could see where there's stuff that could be added there and can make it a lot better. So very good. All right.
I see somebody else has joined us. Does he have an update as well, or?
Cool.
AC.
AC.
Hey,
Alan.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I joined because I got on after the Game of the Week discussion, so I wanted to come on and mention something really interesting that I noticed in the game, and that is that there's apparently a way to get into a cheat mode. And I was curious if anyone else had found that besides myself.
I didn't even know there was a cheat mode. That was the first I'd heard of it, so I don't have a clue about it.
Okay, yeah, and so at first I wasn't able to understand what was even going on. I was playing the game, and I wanted to try to figure out what it was that allows you when the game decides to advance from wave 1 to wave 2. So I was wondering if it was based on how many enemy planes flew into the screen or what it was. So I was trying to fire as many shots as I could without killing any enemies, and to see if it was, based on how many shots you had fired or something like that. And I got distracted, and I was on Discord, and I looked back, and I was suddenly, I had 7 planes instead of 2 or 3, and the score was up in the 200,000s. Right? And so I said, what is going on here? And so I was in so much shock, I almost couldn't play. And so I tried to finish that game out. Actually, I paused and started.
Yeah, did you
from that
take
point.
a picture?
I took a picture, and I recorded the second half of the game from 200,000 up until I finally died. and I put it up on YouTube. So if anyone wants to see what it looks like to get into the hack, it's up there on YouTube.
I'm going to be watching it later.
Just a few minutes ago, I figured out what you need to do to get into that mode. And
Please
that
share.
Should I just tell you what it is, or do you want to try to go on an Easter egg hunt for yourself?
I have no time for an Easter egg hunt right now, so go ahead and tell me.
Okay. So what you need to do is survive wave 1 without scoring any points. And then when you enter into wave 2.
Okay, that's easy.
Well, just surviving the game is sometimes.
Well, yeah. The 0
points
is easy.
Yeah, weave your way around and not get hit, and also don't try to keep a 0 score. So then when you go into wave 2, you'll instantly jump up to 256,300 points, and it adds some number of planes. I think it might add 5 planes or something like that, because I've seen 6 and I've seen 7. I think it just adds 5 to whatever you had at the end of wave 1.
That sounds like a bug.
I don't know. There were some arcade games that had that little hidden feature that if you scored no points at all, that you would get some mega bonus, because it's hard to do actually in some games.
Do you lose points anywhere in the game normally? Like, is there a subtraction that might be happening on 0?
I think it's more like, you get 150 points for hitting small enemies, and you get, it graduates, but you only gain points in this game from what I could see.
Okay. He's got a bug there.
Or it's on purpose. Like I said, there are some arcade games that actually had it that if you got 0 points on the entire first round, you got a mega bonus. I've actually seen that.
So I
commercial
don't know
arcade
if there
games.
were if there was a high score mentioned in the magazines, but I was curious if any of them were over 256,000. Then that'd be a pretty strong indicator that they had found the bug or the crack.
All right.
Ken, did you look at scores in the Rainbow when you were?
I was looking around in the issues around when the article was written, and I couldn't find any high score submission pages. So,
okay.
Yeah, Buck is saying he thinks he saw a 650,000 point score in Rainbow. So
is it difficult to survive the first level without any points?
Yes.
That's
all that I did in the second attempt, and that's all I did. If it says score : blank throughout wave 1, then I think that qualifies. Somehow I think I even accidentally shot down a couple of enemies. I was actually trying to fire the button a lot. So maybe you have to fire a lot of shots and not hit very many, almost no enemies, and survive wave 1. So try that combination. Firing shots into the clear blue as much as you can. Try not to hit anything.
So play like Nick normally does on every game. Gotcha.
It's a hidden sympathy mode. If you get through level 1 and you got no score, this sucker needs some help.
Yeah, we'll have to try that, because that's an interesting, because like I said, I've played arcade games, and you can check them on Clob. You've mentioned that there's some games, commercial games, arcade games, that actually had that mode where if you got through an entire level and lasted it without killing anything in 0 score, it'd give you this mega bonus, and you might skip ahead levels or something like that too. So that would make sense that might actually be on purpose. I really wish we had the manual for this one.
Is the
Because
guy
I also
around
I don't know
that
if you caught that, AC, but I actually got 4 shots at a time. I was actually on, I think, wave 3, and all of a sudden I was shooting twice as many bullets. Other people had multiple planes join in on the player. Like, there's a few things, I don't know how you get them. Maybe as Ken was speculating, it might be based on picking up the paratroopers, or shooting them.
I heard you mention that, Curtis, and I didn't see that in any of the games I played. I probably spent 3 or 4 hours playing, because I'd never played the game before, and it took about 2 hours to be able to get anywhere, to even get out of wave 1, and then but I never saw the 4-shot mode. That didn't happen for any of us here.
Yeah, that happened for me, and then Sloopy got the multi-planes at the same time, which actually we got recorded on the live stream, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought it was fascinating, and thought some others might want to try the same, see if they can get into that mode.
Cool. I think I'm gonna have to try that game again this week if I get some time, because I'm kind of curious on that now.
And it was actually fun. The first 30 minutes of it were pure frustration, but the game sort of grew on me as I got into it. My young son never enjoyed the game. He said this is way too hard, and then he would go back to playing his Switch or his Xbox, and saying that was easier. And he had a joystick with a million controls on it. No, that's easier than Fighter Pilot. But
yeah, games were harder back then. I will say that.
They were simpler to control, but harder to get anywhere.
To master, yeah.
I like this concept of, okay, here's the apparent game, but here's the real game, which is a completely different thing.
So Buck is mentioning July 86 Rainbow has the high score as 350,450 points by Stephen Arvey of St. Louis. So that could be.
Okay.
Is the guy that made the program around?
Dave Dyes? I haven't been able to get a hold of him in a while. I've been trying, because I would like to have him on for an interview now that it's been publicly really revealed by Glenn Dahlgren that he's the secret person behind Sinistar for Sundog. After the whole big stink with Rainbow, and Rainbow's no longer around, Lonnie's no longer around. So I think I would love to hear his side of the full story to come out, but I haven't been able to get a hold of him.
Yeah, it made me curious if there were any disassemblies of games. If there's a disassembly of this, and could someone sort of poke around and see what went wrong, or if it was intentional looking in the assembly.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So that guy who had that high score of 356,000 or whatever, let's say he did get, the high score via this method. Whenever he realized, it's like, oh my God, what happened? I don't know, but I'm running with it.
Really?
Well, you'd have to be the worst player in the world for one wave, and then the greatest player in the world for wave.
Yeah. You'd have to try pretty hard to score 0 in the first wave.
Yeah. And last long enough not getting shot.
Yeah.
And hit.
It takes some really, really bad luck for an entire wave, or really, really good luck. I'm not sure which it would be.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Let me put this down. I don't care if I die. You come back like, oh my God, where'd these points come from?
Yeah, I mean, that was almost exactly my experience, because I was playing, trying not to get killed and trying to not shoot anyone, and I was looking at Discord, and I was looking at typing something, and I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what just happened? How did I get 7 planes and 200-some thousand points?
Now there is a pause key in the game too, isn't there? If I remember.
Yeah,
yes.
The P key. Yeah, so when I caught on what had happened, I hit P really quick, and I grabbed the video camera and recorded the rest of the game and put it up on YouTube. And
sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for popping on to tell us that. That's intriguing.
Yeah.
And then has anybody else got any project updates and acquisitions? Because I have 2 that just showed up.
And don't forget the link I gave you too.
That's one of them. If there's nobody else, then I will do the last two bits here. Going once, going twice. Okay, so I'll save Dave's for last year because the other one's a fairly quick announcement. So we had the Taylor and Amy show. We featured the video when they did a memory upgrade on a CoCo on their YouTube channel earlier. And I reached out to them about maybe coming on to CoCoTALK at some point. We actually got an email from them yesterday. They said yes, they would be interested in doing so. So we were going to be trying to set that up, and I just got word back from them. We would love to join you on the 26th of February. Thank you so much for the invite. Please let us know if there's anything we need to do to prepare. So we'll get in contact and would basically consider that an official guest now for the 26th. We'll have Taylor and Amy of the Taylor and Amy show on. And of course, they've got some Tandy 1000 stuff they've done. They've got some CoCo stuff they've done, Odyssey 2 stuff they've done, a whole bunch of stuff. So there's a lot of things to ask them about. So that'll be 2 guests in a row the next 2 weeks. And then lastly, we've got an update from Mr. David Ladd here, since we sent him 6E's loader, and you recorded this in MAME, I believe?
Affirmative, sir. MAME's features of AVI rights are so handy.
You guys are seeing that? I'm assuming you recorded sound too, right, David?
Oh, you'll find out.
Sounds good.
cool loading screen.
I wonder how much this slows down the load compared to normal, if at all.
I think they're just loading a Hello World program.
But I do see it keeps the blinking, found cursor up in the upper left.
So is that loading now? Is it?
Yeah, that blinking cursor in the upper left is the basic ROM routine still loading.
The loading thing, yeah.
Oh, it's been loading this whole time.
Yep.
Actually, 60 just said in the chat it's a standard load speed, so it loads the normal speed. You'd have to add in the code for the load, the music player itself, obviously. So it'd be a bit longer. You'd add that on the beginning, but basically the rest of the program should load the same speed it loads.
So they're doing some kind of playing the music in the blinking interval trick to play the music, and yet.
Yeah, 60 actually explained that a little bit earlier somewhere. Was it on chat? Or was it in
I'm going to have to go track that down. That's cool.
There it is, all loaded.
It's loaded.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now you find, I think 60 had actually commented on that here. Find this.
Yeah, thankfully Pedro gave me enough room to work with that I was able to quickly get it recorded, get it converted to MP4, wait for my slow internet to upload it so then I could send you the link. I'm like, please, keep stalling.
Oh, I can stall with the best of them, trust me.
Are you saying I talk a lot?
No, he's saying I talk a lot.
I'm not saying you did or you didn't. A better phrase. I know nothing.
Basically, we all talk too much.
That's why these shows keep going up to 5 or 6 hours these days.
That's why we're here today.
Yeah, 60's comment was, I think Stuart hacked it so it could fit into exact cycle count chunks.
Yeah.
So in between the cassette bits. So
yeah, exactly that.
But if it runs at the same speed, I mean, the double speed poke, I mean, you have to obviously adjust the player then to match if you're doing a co-frequent or something like that. But you should be able to run the double speed and run 3000 baud cassette while playing music. Should be kind of cool.
Ooh, and just transpose all the music an octave down and you're good.
And then put in the ZX0 compressor.
Well, the compressor would take extra CPU time to do that all on the fly all the time. I guess you could uncompress a chunk or something, but or maybe uncompress, say, the main music and then have that running, but then maybe wait on the decompressor for the main stream until it's done versus doing it on the fly. I don't even know how that works, if it's on the fly right now or not. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
But I mean, it's amazing no one did anything practical with this, like enter all the player names while the game loads, or that kind of crap. In retrospect, hindsight 2020 and all of that.
Yeah, most people just did auto starts and then they would add in like a text-based doohickey to have something to look at while it's loading. That's about it.
Right. I mean, well, wasn't like anyone was making money on this stuff.
Yeah, I probably would have done, used the binary chunks and did a screen load some of the program, do a screen load some more of the game, screen load some more of the game.
Oh, there you go. A little slideshow as you go in.
Okay.
That's all the updates I had. Unless somebody else has any final project updates or acquisitions, I think we might be done for the day.
Oh, good. I can go back to bed.
That's perfect timing.
We're sorry we kept you up, David.
Okay. All right.
My
Been
wife
getting
said
text
she's gonna
messages.
call rent a husband.
Rent a husband, huh? All right. Well, let me run the outro.
I'll mute mine.
Hello, my name's Brian Bruderer. I made P51 and Space Raiders. You can catch me live on CoCoTALK February 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern.
This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer, MC10, and Dragon systems. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at cocotalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to cocotalk@cocotalk.live. Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click on the Patreon link on our website, cocotalk.live. CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Alan Murphy, Amigos Retro Gaming, Bill Noble, Brian Joyce, Brian Weaver, Curtis Boyle, D. Bruce Moore, Danny O'Connor, David Ladd, Eric Canales, George Jansen, Grant Leedy, James Diffendapper, Jason Reichert, Jim Brain, Ken Reichert, Ken Waters, Mark Bosley, Mark Overholzer, Mikey Furman, Mr. Dave 6309, Nick Marentes, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Nick Marotta, Paul Fiscarelli, Richard Lorbieski, Rick Adams, Rick Hewlin, Rob Inman, Ron Delvaux, Samuel Gimes, Sloopy Malibu, Steve Bjork, Terry Steggy, Tom C., and many, many more. Please help support the CoCo community. A list of various contributors and resources are available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The original CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. The new CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2020 by D. Bruce Moore. Both are mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. CoCo forever!
And we're back. So one question I should have thought about a little earlier. So Alan, do you have an update on the your DV project?
Okay, yeah, CoCo DV. So the latest thing is, well, this is what it has been looking like. I think that's showing up.
Yeah.
This is the original form factor of it. So you socket your 6847 and you plug this in the socket, and then you put the 6847 back in the socket on the board here. And this had a micro HDMI connector. And that was just really finicky to solder and to work with. So I've made a new version of the PCB, and I've ordered 10 boards. And I've increased this connector to a full-size HDMI connector. And I guess in the big scope of things, there's the global shortage of ICs that's affecting the availability of FPGAs. So everything's really on hold right now, but I think I'm going to be able to make a small batch in March. And I'm not really advertising it because it all hinges on the goodness of the FPGAs. But I do have a quantity of 10 of them. And so when I get boards or when I get PCBs, I'll assemble some boards and test them out and hopefully make those available. So, but that should be, I should know by the end of March about that.
Now, this board you have there requires a VDG, right? You have to piggyback the VDG on it.
You do have to piggyback the VDG, so it's snooping all. It sits in between the main board and your original VDD chip, so it's snooping the signals. So you do need to keep your VDG chip, yes.
But you have something else in the works, right? I thought.
The issue with, so some people would like to use this to replace the VDG, and the complication about that is that it can probably happen for the original MC6847P version, but the later one that they came out with, the T1, that has the true lowercase and the different border colors. It has a different pinout, and it also incorporated some ICs internally so they could reduce the chip count on the main board. So to replace it, if I wanted to replace all of them, there would need to be 2 different versions, and the one would have to replace more chips. So it was just a complication. So just to keep things simple, this is just, a pretty much drop in, and it can drop into either the old or the new, right? And the only difference will be that we'll just have a different firmware load on it because of the pin scrambling of that.
Rather than a whole new spin of a board type thing.
So I think in the future I do have something in the works where I'm thinking about how could I replace the 6847 in a way that you can really design that chip out, because what I was worried about is 10, 20 years from now, will ICs start to have end of life issues, and are we going to be scrambling, at some point to try to find replacement chips?
Yeah.
And that really had me worried. And that was why about a year ago, I started working on this, thinking about, I want to characterize this and copy the logic of it now while I still have working CoCos. But I have no idea how long these 40-year-old IC chips are going to continue working.
Well, I agree with you. I have the same fear.
They might work for another 40 years, but I really doubt it. What if they start dropping off in 5 or 10 years, and there's an end of life issue with them? So that has me thinking about that, and that's why I was trying to recreate it.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's kind of like Gary Becker and Ed Snyder replacing the Gimme, with the Gimme X. Like, it's not just where you plug a Gimme into it; it's a whole replacement that does all the original functionality plus adds to it, which is something like CoCo VJ or something might be the future for this thing.
And I always, I have to think that it's also so that it can get that mysterious 256 color mode, right? That we can never find it in the original Gimme, even though we thought it might be in there. But now with Gimme X, you can recreate that.
All right, just as a recap, so your board is for the CoCo 1 and 2 and gives you a HDMI output that's not a conversion. It's like a first generation digital.
That's right. So it's pixel perfect. There's no analog anywhere in that path. And to avoid the whole HDMI royalties issue, I call it digital video. And so I think if I do sell any of these, you'll want to get the sound through the regular channels, right? So as long as you don't build audio into the channel, it's not really HDMI.
It's DVI or something, isn't it?
It's DVI. So
it's just a connector. It's just shaped the same.
Yeah, the connector will look like an HDMI connector, and you can use an HDMI cable to an HDMI TV, or you could go with a converter to DVI, the rectangle shaped connector. You can use either one, either cable, and it'll be DVI encoding, but it'll work with either kind of a monitor or TV. That's just to avoid all of the HDMI rights. And
well, there's no audio on the 6847 anyway.
Right.
So even though the output connector is now straight on the board, it's still cattywampus, sir.
How do you mean?
Well, it's not. It's not DVI, but it's DVI. It's a joke on your original board where the connector was a little crooked and.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
It's deep. Sorry.
Yeah. That was for a purpose, of course, because it needs to fit in so many different models of the CoCo, and it's they oriented it in so many different positions from the CoCo 1 until the last.
Yeah.
Right.
Two that was made. And there were capacitors, there were RF modulators, and there were every way that I tried to point this thing, it was always hitting something. So I had to go at this crazy angle.
Because you got to be able to route the cable out with that, and you got to have a minimum bend on the cable so it doesn't stress the connector.
Yes. So this is
if you made it vertical,
fit everything.
If you made it a vertical connector,
there are some of those. They were just a lot harder to find.
Yeah,
but they do exist.
Cool.
So it's a beautiful project.
I like it.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. The FPGA shortage couldn't have hit it at a worse time,
I think everybody says
projects. But it forced me to go do something else, right? So I went and worked on sprites and sound, SID sound. So I've been busy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, does that cover it for today?
I think so. That was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, because I didn't have that much news today. So.
Okay, well, then let's just say goodbye.
We'll see you next week. Brian Brewer is our guest. Come and ask questions.
We'll see you next weekend.